All right, we're going to call to order the August the 18th meeting. We'll have the invocation by Mr. Hart, Pledge of Allegiance by Scott Kennedy, Commissioner Kennedy. Please stand.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you through your abundant grace and mercy you've allowed us to come together to conduct the city's business. And Father, we pray that you help us to come in the spirit of unity. Even though we may disagree, let us not disrespect or disengage from one another, but continue to respect each other as brothers and sisters. We say a special prayer of all our men and women who are bravely serving in the armed forces all over the world. Watch over them and keep them safe. And as always, watch over our first responders. Watch over them as we watch over us. We'll be so careful to give you the praise, the honor, and the glory you do. In your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Here.
Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Ferstner?
Here.
Commissioner Oliver is absent.
All right, presentations and proclamations. We have none. Staff report.
Nothing at this time.
All right, public comments. Public comments tonight is the first one will be, if you're on item number 10, that's the last item tonight at the end. So we start off with just public comments. And I have one here for Mr. Atkins. Before we start on this, I want to read the bottom of this form you filled out. The following time limits to speak are in effect. This public hearing is 3 minutes. The other one is tonight you get to speak is 5 minutes. This is 5 minutes per speaker on the other ones tonight and 3 minutes for the first ones. So I want to read this civility code out. All electronic devices, including cell phones and pagers, shall be either turned off or otherwise silenced. Prolonged conversations shall be conducted outside commission chambers. Clapping, whistling, heckling, gesturing, loud conversations, or other disruptive behavior is prohibited. Only those individuals who have submitted speaker forms and who have been recognized by the mayor or chair may address comments to the commission or the board. Comments at public hearings shall be limited to the subject being considered by the commission. Comments at citizens' comments should be directed to the city issues. All public comments shall avoid personal attacks, abusive language, and redundancy. No person attending a commission or board meeting is to harass, annoy, or otherwise disturb any other person in the room. All right, first one is Chris Atkins on this first one.
Thank you for your time, Mayor, Commission, and management team. My name is Chris Atkins. I live at 606 Ridgefield Avenue. Bought my home in 2001, still live there today. You know, many of you out here are probably here for the same reasons that I started paying attention to the city of Ocoee's budget and finances many years ago. You probably feel like maybe you're being misled. There's not a whole lot of transparency, or maybe what someone would call, the sleight of hand. I can tell you in 2014, I started paying attention. The city of Ocoee put in place a firefighter's fee. How convenient that we're speaking about that this evening. It was for $0. And I started to tell myself, what does a fee for the firefighters at $0 do? And they're telling us they have a budget shortfall, they have to set a fee up. But then I remembered, like, a couple months later, there was the Founders Day Festival, the Free Festival. So I said, I'm going to start looking at the budget. And I want to make sure that I see what's going on here. Because you know what? Firefighters and our first responders should be first, not first to cut. So as I looked, I found that there was only $165,000 in expenses in the budget for the entire festival. I found there was $0 in income in the budget. A few months later, I discovered that the commission, what they do is they use the general fund. They make a vote unanimously to pay for entertainment for the Free Founders Day out of the general fund. So it didn't really show in the budget. I call that sleight of hand. I believe that some commissioners up here have even said that the original fee put in place at $0 is a form of sleight of hand. They've put recently more fees in place at $0. I consider that a sleight of hand. You know, at the end of the day, this isn't about the fees. I'm not speaking about the fees tonight. I'm proud of everybody up here who's paying attention. I'm more about accountability. I don't have a problem when we make mistakes. We all do. I have a problem when I feel that there's no accountability and it's just sleight of hand. I asked a simple question when I came here last year. I was looking for a review for the city manager, something that I could see tangible, how we are evaluating the performance of said manager. In this same meeting 1 year ago, when we were told that there was a financial crisis, at that time I was told by every commissioner that he's doing an outstanding job, there's no official review. I can say over the last decade, I'm very disappointed and I don't believe he's doing a good job. So I pose this question.
All right, that's it.
Do you guys feel he's doing a good
Listen to
job
me.
still?
We're not gonna
or
start
not?
with this, Mr. Atkins.
It's
Remember
not-
what happened last time?
No, I don't know, sir.
Well, you had to leave.
I
This-
didn't have to leave.
I'm gonna tell you once again, your 3 minutes is up. So, thank you.
I asked a question.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
What? What did he say?
Wasn't courteous.
It's not anything to do with Curtis, sir. Did you not understand what I read on this? Did you understand what I read? If you make any more comments out of the order, you'll be leaving also. Or you start, and I'm telling you, any of you in here, if you make any comments out of order, you're gonna be leaving. That's why you have rules. All right, back to the meeting. All right. That was the only public comments. The rest of them is the ones for item number 10. All right, consent agenda. You can't do that, sir. Too late.
Too late?
Yeah. All right, consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve?
I don't think there's a time cutoff for people who can speak.
Do what I just told him. If you speak out of order from that place, you're gonna be leaving also. If you wanna make comments at the public comments in item number 10, that's fine. This is why we do that before, and I just read it for the comments to come up. That wasn't it. The only one I have is this. Anybody that fill one out tonight, for the other, you will get to talk. But this one's over. All right.
I made a motion to approve consent agenda?
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson. Do I hear a second?
Second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Firstner. Any more comments? Let's vote. All right. Public hearing, number 9. Public hearing to adopt the annual code enforcement abatement assessment. Resolution to certify 2027 non-ad valorem assessment tax roll for abatement cost recovery. Police Chief Ogden.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commission, and citizens of Ocoee. Section 115-1 of the City Code of Ordinances establishing the geographical limits of the City of Ocoee as a special assessment district. The City Commission is authorized to levy a non-ad valorem assessment against properties in which the city has extended funding to abate a nuisance. Resolution 2017-003 requires the City Commission to adopt a resolution certifying the non-ad valorem assessment tax roll following a public hearing before September 15th of each year. There are presently 7 properties that will be assessed to recover the cost of abatements paid by the City of Ocoee. The owners of each of these properties were notified by first-class mail of the non-ad valorem assessment and the scheduled public hearing at which the City Commission would consider the issue. The form and content of these notifications comply with the requirements outlined in Florida Statute 197, .3632. Address is 10840 West Colonial Drive. The amount due is $521.82. Vacant lot on Silver Star Road next to Ocoee Landing Subdivision is $1,244.12. 515 Waterway Court, Ocoee, Florida, $644.50. 2950 McGuire Road, Ocoee, Florida, $638.60. 1204 Willow Creek Road, Ocoee, Florida, $379.87. 97 Deer Key Court, Ocoee, Florida, $203.68. And 611 North Lakewood Avenue, Ocoee, Florida, $200.57, for a total of $3,833.16.
That it?
That's it.
All right, read it.
A resolution of the City of Ocoee, Florida, City Commission relating to the collection of unpaid liens from code enforcement abatement actions throughout the City of Ocoee, stating the purpose of such efforts, providing definitions, endorsing the uniform method of assessing abatement costs against assessed properties located within the City of Ocoee, approving the non-ad valorem assessment roll for fiscal year 2027, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
All right, anybody in the public want to make any comments to this number 9? All right, no comments, I bring it back to the dais. Commissioners? Need a motion
Wait, there's a comment.
to that issue. To that issue.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Okay, okay.
about what?
Okay.
What did she just say?
Ma'am, you have to come up to the front, and eventually we'll have to ask you to fill out a form, please, because we have to keep
What do you-
records of names.
Just come to the,
But that's, we have to have you come
podium.
speak on the microphone, I know, but it's just policy, procedure.
it has to be on recorded, ma'am, it has to be recorded.
My name is Saret Thomas.
Oh, talking to the
The
mic.
microphone.
My name is Saret Thomas, and I live in Ocoee. The question I have, when that happens and you put a lien on someone's home, does it go for auction? What happens?
Maybe
That was my question,
Okay.
that's all.
Is the chief here? Does he want to address it, or how that's handled? I'm sorry, can you hear?
No,
Okay,
she was
she
still
wants
wasn't talking to the mic.
She has a question.
Greg, did you hear what she asked?
Yeah.
She asked if that house goes for auction. Is that was your question? No, the lien, it's on until it's paid. The lien, and that's it. Okay.
All right. I need a motion. No, sir. No, sir. All right.
I'll make a motion.
I'm gonna tell you once again, start the laughing, start the noise, and it's gonna be stopped. We want everybody to have a chance to talk on the issue they're here for. You made a motion, Commissioner?
Yes, I did. I made a motion to approve the resolution.
All right, motion made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
No. All right, no more comments? Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously with Commissioner Oliver absent. All right, now we're gonna get down to number 10. Here's the deal. I got all the different ones for talking. If you haven't filled one out and you want to talk, fill it out. Give it to us now. All right. If not, when we start, you get 5 minutes. The city clerk keeps the clock, so 5 minutes. All right, we'll start off with Frank Calavelli. And, excuse me, 1 second. I'm gonna have all the people, will read all the ones off before we discuss, talk up here. So make your notes if you got,
But he's gonna do a presentation first, right?
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
After that, we keep doing them until we get through, and then we talk.
Perfect.
Okay, sir.
No, Mayor, I got to give a presentation.
Oh, I didn't see you. Sorry.
Thank you, Mayor, City Commissioners, Assistant City Manager Mike Rumor, presenting this item tonight. It's the final rate resolution for the fire assessment fee. So background, this is the final hearing, the adoption of the rate resolution for the assessment fee for fire. Back on May 19th, the commission authorized staff to update the existing fire fee methodology from the fire protection unit to the demand and availability methodology. And also to set an initial rate hearing for June 16th. On June 16th, the commission approved the initial rate resolution establishing the maximum fire fee assessment equal to 70% of the 5-year average assessable fire budget. And it also set tonight, August 18th, as the adoption date on the final assessment. And with that, all property owners have been notified by mail of that initial rate assessment of 70%. Tonight's request. The methodology was already approved prior, as I spoke earlier. Tonight, we're here to approve the final resolution, which sets a maximum funding level equal to 70% of the 5-year average accessible budget, which for residential purposes, what they got in the mail was the $597.16 flat rate. And it's also in that resolution to set the fiscal year 27 rate to cover 45% of that accessible budget over 5 years. And for comparison, that residential rate would be $383.90 a year. And it establishes for non-residential a square footage and EDU rate. This is what the rate structure for the 45%, which is in the resolution. And this is the maximum assessment which everyone received in the mail. I do want to state that the proposed trim notices that will be received by residences will show the current rate under the fiscal year 26. So there's going to be some little bit of conflicting information, but we're going to clear that all up tonight. So, as I said, we're here to adopt the final rate resolution for the 45% for fiscal year 27 and the 70% maximum. Some things I want to cover is things that we've seen and heard out there. Just provide some clarification is, you know, we have issues with sidewalks and potholes, and I just wanted to reiterate this commission's emphasis on both sidewalks and road paving. We have done miles and miles of resurfacing program. We've had 2.1 to 2.4 million in each year's budget to tackle that. We have 2.2 in the proposed budget for fiscal year 27, which will be adopted in September. We have also instituted and completed a citywide mapping of those streets, so we know what condition all the streets are in, and we can prioritize when we get to the budget cycle. Same thing for sidewalks. This commission has prioritized sidewalk replacement. We have, again, in fiscal year 27, $500,000 budgeted to sidewalk replacement. And again, we have also, as we did with roads, we did a sidewalk assessment, walked it with GPS, and pinpointed every area, every sidewalk that needs replacement. Some of the comments were, you know, why don't we spend money on, some of this is going to go towards Forest Lake. Pre-purchase of Forest Lake, which is the land we own, the golf operations had an escalating payment. We received the last year of the lease $40,000 towards, that went to the general fund. Now with the city purchasing the operation, we already own the land. This operation generates the golf course over $1 million a year annually in revenue. All of that is being placed back for operations and maintenance. Nothing goes to this general fund. And any future improvements and expansions will be paid for by golf revenues. There's some confusion from people on projects, Dynasty. The Dynasty project, which is the sports facility, is not a city project. We may have promoted it during the approval process, but that is a developer-driven project. No general funds go into that project. And similarly, our beloved City Center West Orange, near 50, that is not a city-owned project. No general funds have gone to that project. That is developer-driven project, and just want to make that clarification. And finally, some comments talking about how this methodology is assessed. And we have had a consultant that is an expert in doing hundreds of these, as well as representation from a law firm. And this new methodology under the demand and availability that was established and in the fire assessment memorandum answers a lot of these questions, but just kind of want to highlight them. As I said, the connection between the assessment and special benefit, this memorandum shows how those costs are proportioned and that are legally and defendable. Sort of, hey, this is an unfair apportionment. The 70% was an initial rate not to exceed. To give room, we are proposing tonight and in the budget, which you guys heard in the first budget workshop, a 45% rate. The new fee is looking at circumventing tax caps, dealing with what's out there with Amendment 3. All of the funds from the fire fee, the assessable funds are over 14 million. All funds will go to the fire protection services. It cannot go anyplace else. And the same thing with number 4, this rate increase to 45% just covers escalating costs of personnel, apparatus, and operations. It goes from 12 million, 14 million to future budgets. And so this 45% is proportional to those rate increases. Again, just want to reiterate tonight's request. It's a final resolution which states that we are approving a funding level of up to 70%. And then for fiscal year 27, we are looking at a funding level of 45%, which will equate to a flat fee for residential of $383.90, and then establish for the non-residential a square footage and an equivalent dwelling unit rate combined for a rate for those uses. I am available for any questions, Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Anybody up here want to ask any comments before we start with these public comments? Okay, ready.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Ocoee, Florida, relating to the provision of fire protection services, facilities, and programs throughout the City of Ocoee, providing certain recitals, authority, purpose, and definitions, confirming the amended and restated initial assessment resolution, imposing fire protection assessments against assessed property located within the City of Ocoee, Florida, for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2026, approving the assessment roll and providing for collection, providing for application of assessment proceeds, providing for effect, providing for conflicts and severability, and providing an effective date.
All right, so the public hearing is going to be what we're starting now. That's right. I'm open to the public hearing. All right, we got, first person is Jacob Garber. He just turned this in. Huh?
He may be in the back.
Can somebody find out back? Jacob Garber.
Can we put like 2 or 3 on deck? Can we put like 2 or 3 on deck? Can we put like 2 or 3 on deck so they can? Just a thought.
You won't be handing stuff.
Yeah, no, but it's just a thought. Just a thought.
Just
Because they're out there.
calm down.
Speak through here? All right, thank you. When do my 3 minutes start?
Yes, sir.
Right now? Okay, great. Good evening, City Manager, Mayor, and Commissioners. My name is Jacob Garber. I'm a resident of the City of Ocoee. First, I want to thank our firefighters, police officers, excuse me, I had to walk from back there, and city staff for the work they do. My comments are not a criticism of those employees. They're about the fiscal policies and how we fund city services. After reviewing the proposed fiscal year 2027 budget, I'm struggling to understand the justification for the size of the proposed fire assessment increase. The budget shows total general fund spending declining from approximately $77.2 million, and I can provide these numbers later on for you, to $74.3 million. Personnel spending remains essentially flat, and operating expenses declined by nearly $3 million. Most notably, public safety expenditures decreased from approximately $42.4 million to $40.6 million, a reduction of about $1.8 million. That's a reduction of $1.8 million. Most notably, public safety expenditures decreased from approximately $42.4 to $40.6, as I said. At the same time, property tax revenues are projected to increase by approximately $2 million due to rising property values. Yet despite lower spending and higher tax revenues, fire protection fee revenue is projected to increase from approximately $3.3 million to more than $8 million, an increase of about $4.7 million in a single year. Okay? So as a taxpayer, I am concerned about the additional $4.7 million in fire assessments, even as the proposed fiscal year 2027 budget shows public safety expenditures decreasing by approximately $1.8 million. Could you help me understand this? Could the commission explain this discrepancy? Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
And I'm sorry, and I'm willing to send you guys an email with the information that I provided tonight so that you guys can provide a further breakdown of your answer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, like I said, commissioners, every one of you make notes what each speaker is talking about, where you can make that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Once again, hold the clapping. You can all clap at the end. Fannie Morvac? Fannie Morvac. Somebody needs to be out there where they can hear what's going on.
If the TV's on or over there, but they have to walk over this way. I don't know if you want to maybe start with the ones here, because I think most.
That's where I'm starting. I'm just going down the list. This one,
This one was just given through.
the one on the bottom.
Did you want, I don't know if you wanted to line up diagrams.
Well, we're gonna call more of them, but while we're waiting on this one, I'm gonna give you three names at a time. And, 3 names at a time. All right. Next will be after Fannie will be Joe Badur, Jacqueline Lewis, and Romeo de Paquette. So come up over here and line up over here by thing. So are those people here? Joe Badur? You? Jacqueline Lewis? Jacqueline Lewis. All right, somebody find them. And then Romeo de Paquette, is he here? All right, somebody find, let them stand up there. All right, let's start the clock on Fannie.
Lemorvan.
All right, yes, ma'am.
Hi, good evening. My name is Fannie Lemorvan, and thank you for the firefighters and all public service people that do everything for us. It's very simple. I got this letter, and it said that I'm to proposedly pay $597.16. My house is approximately 1,600. They're basing on a much higher square footage house. So why is it that it has to be done on an average instead of doing it on the actual square footage?
You got 5 minutes to go ahead and talk. We're gonna keep the notes.
That's it. That's all I wanted to know. It's like, why?
First of all, hold on. You need to make the statement clear about what the fire fee is this year, not the 597, what I said before.
I'll clarify, and then I would request that we let everyone speak, and then we address
That's what I said a while ago.
We are
So-
proposing to set the fire assessment at $383.90 this year, not the $597.
Okay, yeah, I saw that before, but then when I got the letter, I was like, well, okay, so regardless, I just wanted to make that point that it should be done based on your square footage of your house, not somebody that, that has a lot more than me. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, Joe Badur.
My name is Joe Bander. I'm a resident here in Ocoee. Commissioners, Mayor, very nice to see you. Thank you. Again, firefighters, police department, we appreciate everything you do. The two first speakers that came up, they hit some of the core points of what I wanted to talk about this evening, and I promise you I'll keep it very brief because there's not just a whole room full here, but in the room behind us over here, I counted at least 30 people. So, Mayor, if there's a delay in somebody coming up, I want you to understand that they're probably taking a hike from that
Do you
conference.
not think I understand that?
Understood, sir. Anyways, two things. One, I've been contacted by a couple of my neighbors that are out of town, and they asked me to speak. I can't say on their behalf because they're not here and they didn't fill out a card, but they had concerns about the increase, just as the lady prior to me talked about the square footage assessments. It looks like that is going to be addressed. Yes, sir? The fees, or instead of the 500 part of it?
We're recommending the city commission adopt 45%, which would make the flat residential fee at $383.90.
Right. Okay. I have a little concern about the proposed 70%. I don't know of very many people that get a 70% increase in their budget or in their paycheck. A lot of these people are on fixed incomes, and they're, any increases like this cause a significant difficulty to them as well. The first gentleman who was up, he brought up some very interesting numbers. I don't have those numbers, but I would be curious to look over those numbers that he had and purported. Sir, do you know if any of those numbers he purported are remotely close?
We'll answer all the questions.
I understand. Okay, very good. All right, again, I said I was going to keep this brief, so that is about all I have to say today. But thank you.
All right, Jacqueline Lewis.
Good evening, Commissioner, Mr. Mayor, city residents of Ocoee. My name is Jacqueline Lewis. I have lived in Ocoee since 2001 in the same residence. And just for clarification, the fire protection fee that is proposed for 597.16, is this fee set in stone, or are we expected to see some form of an increase within the next fiscal year or two, or even 3? And secondly, if someone is in the process of selling their home and have paid this fee, will there be some form of refund coming to that resident, or will that be just a write-off?
We're going to answer everybody after they get through with it. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Romeo Beckett. Romero.
Good evening to all. Excuse me, my name is Romeo Paquette, and I live at 1703 Leslie Ann. I've been there for 43 years. So Mayor Johnson and Commissioners, I'd like to just go ahead and read my statement. I believe you all have a copy of it. I think I can do it in 5 minutes. I just want to get the point across, and I'm hopeful that you all will reconsider the manner in which, the billing has occurred. Thank you for your time today, allowing Ocoee citizens the opportunity to voice our opinions concerning this important fire service assessment session. First and foremost, I wish to thank all fire service men and women for their protection of all Ocoee residents in this all-important aspect of protecting lives and property in the event of fire catastrophe. My contention with the letter dated July 28th and received July 31st is the very definition of the availability component as an equivalent dwelling unit, EDU 1. The basis to which assigned an average sized residential house of 23 square feet in the city of Ocoee. This is a fallacy. It is apparent that one EDU is being applied universally to all private residences, regardless of size or square footage. For example, based on this formula, a 1,200 square foot home assigned one EDU is equivalent to the definition of an average-sized home is absolutely not. It is not an equally sized home. This basis of faulty and misleading reasoning in reality assigns a monetary assessment twice the cost it should be by equivocating smaller homes to the average sized home of 24, 23 square feet. Applied universally to all homes from 1,000 feet to 24, 23 square feet, average sized Ocoee home, the 1 EDU is overtaxing the fire service assessment to these smaller homes at double the cost just because of their smaller sized homes. This egregious manner of taxation, overlooking the size of these smaller homes, is placing a financial burden on those of us living in these smaller homes who can least afford the possibility of a 200 to 300 tax increase for this important protection. Additionally, the formula does not address the larger sized homes, the 3,000, 3,500, 4,000 square feet, and larger square footed residences. Are these homes assigned 1.5, 2, or 2.5 EDUs? Or do they pay the lesser fee of 1 EDU as per the average sized home of 24, 23 square foot? Consideration needs to be given when a 1,200 square foot home and those smaller than 24 or 2,300 square foot engulfed in fire may reasonably be extinguished with less personnel and less equipment than homes the average size and much larger. This current fire assessment formula needs major adjustment if smaller than average and larger than average homes are to be fairly taxed for this very important service. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Remember what I said? Just keep it. All right, I'm gonna name off 3 more. First will be Betty Hoss. Is she in the room, or do we need to get her? Betty Hoss. Yes. Are you Betty? I am Betty. Okay, next will be Mark Mazda. See you in the room? Mark, somebody get that gentleman. And then Mark Christen. See you in the room. Wait a minute. All right. Start your 5. Go ahead. We don't work calling.
All right, good evening. This is not my first rodeo here. I've been to each one of the meetings that you all have proposed and assessed the fire assessments. I don't want to rehash the numbers, but it's very clear. 2014, you passed it at 0, knowing full well that you planned to reduce the amount that was in the general budget for the fire department and have it funded by this fire assessment so you could not have to ask for an increased millage rate. That was a fact you all stated at the time. It's a shell game, as someone else mentioned. The public don't necessarily see it that way because they don't understand the accounting of it unless they have a background in order to do that. So I'm appalled that this has continued 3 years, well, more than 3 different times that this has happened. To go from 0 in 2014 to $69.50 in 2016 to $139.23 in 2025, and now for $597.16 in 2026, okay, with an increase expected in the next year, presumably, right? So, since you've removed some of the cost, if not all, because I haven't been to your budget meeting this year, didn't have time, but if you've removed monies from the budget, the general budget for the fire department, and moved it over under this fire assessment, you've really harmed the people. The people probably don't even know it because they're not tax accountants. I spoke to many of you, if not all of you, at the last meeting, after the meeting, to explain to you. These poor folks, when they itemize their deductions on their tax returns, they cannot deduct this fire assessment. They cannot. It's not allowed by IRS laws. Therefore, they're paying out money they don't get to use a deduction for. But if you were kind enough to remove the fire assessment and put the millage rate where it belongs, These people could all deduct the millage rates that they're paying on their taxes. That equates to, on $597 at 37% bracket, $220 of deductions, tax dollars that somebody is giving up. I just request that in summary, you would consider changing your methodology. It does not make sense. Physically, it does not make sense for the people. And when it comes to the renters, the poor renters are going to have this passed on to them as well. So don't think that if you're a renter that you're exempted from this because the landlord is having to pay it, because they are going to pass it on. Yes, and what does that equate to? $50 a month more. So you, the commission, are responsible for $50 a month more payment to the landlord, because the landlord has to turn around and pay it to you. I don't think the tenants really want a $50 increase per month, do they? Okay, so in summary, and I've got a minute left. Thank you. I didn't know I had that much time. Thought I only had 3 minutes. Okay, in summary, we the people would request that you eliminate the fire assessment fee and replace it with the appropriate millage rate necessary to balance your budget. And let's just keep it all in one place where it belonged in the first place. It only makes sense. If you don't believe me, go research the IRS code for yourself. It doesn't make sense to deprive these people of deducting that amount of money on their tax returns. It's just wrong. When we look at the tenants that we have been very careful to keep their rates as low as possible. We have some of the lowest rents in the area. I didn't advise my tenants, all of them, that this was happening tonight, but I did tell one of them, and when she heard what was going to happen, her face just went, $50 a month more? I'm like, I have no choice. I can't continue paying all these fees and things out of our pockets. So I'm asking that you would at least, one, rescind the fire assessment fee. Two, do what you have to do for the millage rate, okay? But three, more importantly, go scrub that budget. I'll bet you can find money. Mr. Johnson, the last time you and I had a conversation about the budget, you said there was no money put in by, not one red cent was your quote, that you went and funded it all for that Founders Day. And I showed you out of the budget it had $75,000 that year for it. So please go scrub the budget. Find where you can take some changes to save having the increases that we keep experiencing. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to stop the meeting, and we'll just sit here till you learn. Please don't clap. We're going to get through the end. You clap all you want. One comment I'll make. You make comments. Let's get this straight real quick. You can make all the comments about the Music Fest. There's a certain budget there. There's a certain much money we raise and doing everything else that doesn't show. Like they sell beer at that thing like everybody else does. That makes $40,000 or $50,000. That doesn't come into the general fund. It goes to that to pay that off. So I'm not going to get into that discussion. So I also told them a couple weeks ago during the budget process we were going to cut out the Founders Day. Now Winter Garden does it. And they spend $1.5 million a year. We don't do that. So I'm just telling you, we won't have the Music Fest. Then all the people that enjoy it in the city that I got all those emails from and all those things mad because we did that. So we're trying to make it where everybody can pay less money on the stuff. But if you raise everybody's millage rate, which nobody wants it to happen until it happens, then your taxes are going to go up. If that's what all of them want, I don't have a problem with the millage rate. We'll do it. But I don't think these people want it when you add up what their taxes are going to be. You had your turn. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. No, ma'am. I'm going to let the commissioner talk now.
I just wanted to remind people, when you come to the podium, you're supposed to give your name and address. Ma'am, I don't know who you are. You didn't give your name.
That's Miss Hoss. I named her Betty Hoss.
Betty Hawes. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Johnson knows me quite well. Betty Hawes,
Well,
3326
that's
Ohio
fine,
Shores
but I
Road,
don't have
Ocoee,
your
Florida,
name.
34761.
Thank you very much.
I got your slip.
think they only have to give their name.
I'm
gonna tell
taking
you that,
notes.
man.
I need-
I don't think they have to give their address.
And I'm going to
I
answer,
don't think
I'm
they
going to
have to give
answer
their
your
address.
questions when I
I
get
don't
to
think
speak,
they have to
okay?
give their address. I think just
You don't have to give your address.
I don't think you do.
Oh, it's on the
Who's up here now?
Mark
Okay,
Mazza.
Go ahead.
All right, my family, several members of my family have lived in Ocoee since the early 80s. I'm a simple guy, I'm a retiree, I'm on a fixed income. This would create a huge burden for me. I, like several other people that have spoke here, and probably a lot of people that are out here, my house is barely 1,000 square feet. I don't think it's fair that it's based on, I don't know what it is, the EDU of 24, 23, whatever that means. And I'd also like to say, is this contingent upon if the Amendment 3 thing passes in November, or is this going to happen one way or the other? And I would like people to think about that and think how they want to vote on that amendment in November. And also to the firemen and the police and all the first responders, nobody wants to cheat y'all. We all want y'all to have fair pay, equal pay to every department that's around us. And to the commissioners and the mayor, I would remind those in power, you serve at the pleasure of the governed.
Well, we're gonna take a little break to where you tired, rest your hands. All right. You know, we're trying to be doing this the right way where we can do with the rules and everybody can get through, because if we don't, you'll be here all night. Mark Mazda.
He just went.
That was him.
Huh?
That was him.
This is Mark
Yeah,
Brisson,
be
the
confused.
next list. Good evening, my name is Mark Brisson of Zinfandel Court here in Ocoee. Been resident for over 30 years. We heard tonight that this is a proportional increase. I don't know how it's proportional, whether you're talking about 45% or 70%, when inflation is only 3 to 4%, CPI, Consumer Price Index, is only 2 to 3%. I can't think of anything that goes up 45 to 70%, and people think it's proportional to what? Certainly not to the revenue that's coming in. Secondly, I'm troubled that the immediate response, once we have a shortfall, is instead of looking for how to reduce expenditures, the initial response is to increase an assessment or increase taxes on your individuals, your community. We have seen over and over again, government has plenty of elements of waste within it, and no one is really looking on how can we be more efficient. Has an independent auditor been looked into seeing ways in which this could be reduced and expenditures could be decreased? If my expenditures are greater than my salary, I've got to look for new ways of reducing those expenditures. I would say the same is true for you all. We also have this issue of Amendment 3. If this passes, but Amendment 3 does not, do we get a refund? Because this is a preemptive situation assessment you are making based on what you think might happen. Until it happens, it is not fiscally responsible to incur the expenditures and incur the taxation without knowing whether this will occur or not occur. And so for these reasons, and additionally, I'm just trying to check over my notes real quick. So we have seen that this is going to be, when it was at the 70%, was going to be a 74% increase in our direct bill. And there's not a clear, maybe I misunderstood today, there's not a real clear understanding of what that means for fiscal year 27 through 28. This is a one-time assessment, but there's still going to be an increase in future years. That has not been clear in what I have heard so far, and I think that is something that needs to be clear, because are you asking this for one time and one time only? Or is this going to be continual? Because I've never seen too many governments willing to give back money once they've gotten money. And so I'm troubled that we are first thinking, how can we get more from these people instead of how can we spend less on our expenditures?
Thank you, sir. Did I call Mark Grissom yet?
Yes, that was me, sir.
That was you. My fault. All right, we're gonna name up three more. Nazar Bandit, see in here? Somebody get Mr. Nasser Bandit. Jonathan Lee. Come on up, sir, and I'll let you go before that. Glenda Jackson. Glenda Jackson, okay. Just come up and line up there, Ms. Jackson. Did you find the other gentleman? All right, Mr. Lee, start this time.
Okay. My name is Jonathan Lee, resident of Ocoee, 1754 Fleetwell Court. Mr. Mayor and members of the City Commissions, I respectfully object to the proposed fire protections non-ad valorem assessment. My 2025 assessment was $206, while the proposed fiscal year 2026 assessment is $597, an increase approximately 189% in a single year. While I fully support funding the fire protection services, the notice does not adequately explain why such an extraordinary increase is necessary. It does not identify the cost drivers, quantify service improvement, discuss alternatives, or explain why a phased implementation was not considered. Residents continue to face increasing premiums, inflation, HOA dues, maintenance costs, and other financial pressures. Household incomes have not increased anywhere near the level of this proposed assessment. I respectfully request the Commissions, 1, provide a detailed financial justification, 2, explain the basis for the nearly 100% increase. In my case, consider a phased implementation, delay approval until property owners have sufficient information to evaluate the proposal. Fire protection is essential, but significant recurring assessments should be supported by transparency, fiscal accountability, and proportionality. I just want to show you a little bit of the chart of what my property here. If you see, the increase is this big blue, and then typically inflation increase is just this tiny one. And then the other one is assessments of wages grow. If you see, the increase is this much, and then this is wage grow in this much. And then the next one is that comparing to my property, you might have difference. My property is not that big like what they propose. So this is the comparison. So this is what I would like to say.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Nick, Nazar,
We need the materials that he held up, Byron.
could you leave those, could you give us the material to the city clerk up here, this, where we can look at it when we get to? Nazar Bandit? Never? No? We'll put it to the side in case it comes to the end. All right. Glenda Jackson.
Hello, I'm Glenda Jackson. I live at 1253 Russell Drive.
Nellie?
I've lived in Ocoee since 2003. I retired at the end of December 2022. In July of 2023, I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer and bone cancer. It's incurable, and I have to apply for a grant to pay for my medicine, so I can't afford this. And I just want to know what you're going to do to try to help the little people. I'm beyond myself. I live on, my husband is 78 years old. He fell and broke his hip last July. We are in very limited income. I had to go to the hospital on July 29th because I had an episode, because I had a biopsy done on the 28th and had bad side effects from it. And I wouldn't even call the EMS to come pick me up to take me to the hospital because I couldn't afford the co-payment. My husband, who's 78 years old, had to drive me, and he was scared to death because he thought I was going to have a heart attack. I just want to know what y'all can do to help us, because we love Ocoee, and we want to stay here, but we need your help. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Ms. Jackson, sorry. I know who you are, the church. I know who you are. Yeah. All right, we're going to name off three more. All right. Then's the Curry.
Yes.
Then Bobby Hoss. Did some of you fill out cards twice? Did Frank Cavalier already speak? Yeah, nope. Where are you going? You already spoke?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I put you back in there. Go ahead. All right. All right, Mr. Curry.
Yes, my name is Vincenzo Curry. I'm a
sorry,
citizen
man.
of Ocoee, and I've been here for 30 years. And I'm on Social Security disability. No disrespect to the fire department and police department, because believe me, I've used them before. I'm on a set income. I cannot afford this tax. This will make me have to move and sell my house. I don't want to do that. I'd like to stay here. So if you guys can understand this and try to lower it, considering in November the tax, I paid $1,400 a month on my mortgage to pay for the police department and the fire department. It goes towards Ocoee. That's what my taxes are for. For me to add this to it, I will be forced to sell my home. And I'd really like to stay in Ocoee. Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Bobby House.
My name is Bobby Haas, 3326 Ohio Shores. I want to give my time to,
Number one speaker today. Come on over.
No.
Yes.
Do not do that.
Yeah.
No, ma'am.
It's allowed.
No,
It's
ma'am.
allowed in court.
He's on the thing now. You've already been
It's
up
allowed
there.
in court.
it's allowed.
That's right. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Hoss. Your time's melting away.
All right. So just like this lady, we have 4 renters that are on disability, and we haven't been able to raise their rent because they can't afford it. So as soon as we get to do this, we will have 4 more homeless people on the street. So it looks like that's what we're going to do for the sake of more money, is put more people like that on the street. I don't get it. I don't get it. So we're doing our part to try to help people, but we don't see the government helping us help them, because you're not. Because our rents are lower than anybody else's because they can't afford it. So you're going to make these people homeless. Good job.
All right, thanks, sir. Frank Cavalieri?
Yes,
Sure.
sir. My name is Frank Cavalli. I'm a resident of Ocoee for the last 24 years. I live on Ancient Oak Drive. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. So using multiple AI platforms, this is what I've discerned, and you can help me with it because I'm not sure if the numbers are right. But last year's budget for fiscal 2026, the fire department budget in total was about $14,800,000. According to, and I will say that 2/3 of that was covered from the general fund. Now, on the form that I got, it says the fee protection assessment revenue collected should be estimated at $14 million, very close to last year's budget, if that's the correct number. So what happens to the 2/3 that comes from the general fund? Because it seems like most of it's coming from this assessment fee. If you're not going to use the 2/3 from the general fund, which would be about $10 million, where is that going? What is it being used for? If you are going to add that to the budget, then that brings the fire department budget up to $24 million, which is a lot of money. Okay, so if that's not the case, then you're not using the 2/3 that you used last year for the fire department budget. Okay, so that is correct. All right, so I guess my question is, as you will answer them later, is where will that money go? That $10 million, $10 million, that usually goes to, that's the ad valorem tax, or the property tax, usually helps fund the fire department, but now it seems that it's not going to do that. It's just all non-ad valorem.
It will, not as much.
Okay. Well, I just see a huge discrepancy between last year's budget and what the general fund covered 2/3 of it, and now it seems the assessment fee is almost covering all of the budget, which I just would like to know where the rest of the money is going.
I can
Thank
answer
you.
that.
Did you write it down? Okay, all right. All right, we're gonna name off three more. Nicole Shelley, John Thompson, and Kathy Seals. Kathy, you come ahead, we'll put you up ahead.
John Thompson?
Says John
Yeah,
Thompson.
John Thompson. That's right there, yes.
Kathy Sills, South Lake Shore Drive here at Ocoee. Thank everyone for being here and for y'all allowing us to speak. I don't want to be redundant, but I think 99% of the people here are more concerned about the ED values that have been on this assessment. We already have a stormwater assessment in place, and it is based on square footage. And I guess everyone's question is now, why am I being charged for somebody else's square footage? And I think once you resolve that issue, a lot of the problems that you're hearing or hearing from people tonight will dissipate and go away. You don't want to pay for high test if your car uses regular. And this is kind of what you're doing, is you're asking people that need regular to pay for high test. So like I said, I think once you finalize that and get it back down to square footage that these people owe, and like I said, you've already got the stormwater assessment in place that you use Orange County records for in order to do that assessment. If you do the same thing with this, I think you'll find a lot of people a little bit happier anyway. I think everyone realizes that prices and fees have to go up to keep the services that we have, because we have darn good services in Ocoee. And if you don't think so, I feel bad for you. But we have some of the best around. And to do that, to fund that, you have to have increases, but do it equitably. Thank you.
Thank you. Nicole Shelley?
Hello, I'm Nicole Shelley. I live at 1941 Hedgerow Circle in Ocoee. Thank you for your time. A lot of people have hit on a lot of the same thing that the square footage. I am disabled personally. I'm on a set income, I only get so much money in for that. And I've done everything in my personal power to keep my expenses down, so that for taxes, I separated my taxes from my mortgage so that I could save me some money. And in the intern, now this has come along. And so therefore the money I thought I was saving, not so much. So now I have to figure out how am I gonna come up with this money for this. And again, I have people that are like family to me that are firefighters, and I very much appreciate what they've done for me, and I've never had any issues, but I've lived here since 1998, and I just don't understand why we have to, do this big of an increase. And again, every house is different. I'm not living in a 4,500 square foot home. I'm living in, 1,600 under garage, 1,200 in my house. You know what I'm saying? So I shouldn't have to pay. If I had the money to buy that 4,500 square foot home, maybe I could afford those taxes. But today, in my life and the way I have things now, I can't afford that. So You know, I just wish that you guys, I totally wish you would figure out a way to make it fair. And I do oppose this. I oppose it. And, you know, if you had a vote, nay, just saying. You guys have a wonderful day, and thank you for letting me speak, okay?
Thank you. John Thompson.
Hi there, I'm John Thompson. I live in Roberts Rise. I've been there 23 years. I received a letter, like everybody else here, that my fire tax assessment was going to go up to $597. I understand now it's only going to be $383. Last year it was $274. That was still a 33% increase. I don't see the level of my service increasing 33%. Where's the money going? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gary Boyer. After Gary Boyer, looks like D.R. Blair. She here? Miss Blair. And then Tim Swope. Tim Swope. Barbara, you didn't spell your name very good there. All right.
Good evening. My name is Gary Boyer, and I want to say good evening to Mayor Johnson, the commissioners, City Manager Chadricks, and Assistant City Manager Mike Rimmer. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of this commercial firefighter, not commercial, but the firefighter assessment fee. I own a company that has a building at 529 East Crown Point Road. I'm addressing item number 10. First of all, I want to acknowledge the City Commission staff and their work on August 5th in the budget workshop to evaluate setting the proposed 26-27 assessment rate at 45% of the assessable amount. I was noticed that my fire assessment fee was going to be $19,026 for this next year. Now looks like they're reducing that to 45%, so it's only going to be $7,891. The reduced rate still equals 550% increase from the previous year. This level of increase is disproportionate and legally indefensible for a non-ad valorem assessment. A non-ad valorem fire assessment is required by law to have a direct proportional relationship to the special benefit received and the burden placed on municipal emergency services. Under Florida law, non-ad valorem assessments cannot function as a disguised tax and must be reasonably apportioned based on service demand. We have invested over $170,000 in our building installing a private, fully monitored fire suppression sprinkler and alarm infrastructure to charge a fully sprinklered, state-of-the-art commercial building with the same non-ad valorem rate structure as an unsprinklered facility fails to account for the substantial reduction in risk and emergency service demand created by private capital investments. An automated internal suppression system drastically limits both the spread and duration of any potential fire incident, significantly reducing the city equipment, water volume, and firefighting personnel required during a response. Furthermore, we don't just build it and forget it. Every year, we pay thousands of dollars of out-of-pocket expenses for professional inspections, annual testing, flow rate certifications, and 24/7 central station monitoring of our fire suppression and alarm systems to remain in full compliance with municipal and state safety standards. This ongoing expense ensures our systems are operational every second of every day, guaranteeing immediate mitigation before municipal resources are called. In addition to private risk mitigation, commercial property owners also already make substantial contributions to the city's general fund through ad valorem taxes. Imposing a blanket non-ad valorem assessment without recognizing private suppression investments effectively forces building owners to pay twice for fire protection while fully absorbing the burden of site safety on our own balance sheets. We urge the commission to direct staff to establish a fee credit or adjustment mechanism within the fire assessment ordinance for commercial properties that maintain certified private fire sprinkler systems and alarm systems, and request that any future rate adjustments toward the maximum cap be formally tied to a credit structure for compliant commercial buildings. We, the people, understand that government has no source of funding other than money people earn themselves. We urge the commission to recognize that cost cutting should be incorporated along with future modest increases. I want to thank you for your time and consideration. I do have one question that you can answer later on. It's number 4 that Mr. Rumor brought up. It says here, the fee increase is needed regardless of property tax reductions. The 45% rates are proposed to cover the increase in fire. I spoke to one of the members up here earlier in the week, and I was told that if the property tax reduction that our governor is promoting, that's getting voted on in November, does not pass, then all this stuff is not going to happen. Is that true?
We've discussed how we would reimburse in prior meetings.
So it all gets reimbursed if it doesn't pass?
We've discussed a methodology to do it.
Okay, so some of it might be reimbursed.
You got it.
You're working on it. Okay.
We'll make a note of it.
Maybe some clarification, Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
would be helpful. Thank
Yeah.
you for your time.
All right, thank you, Mr. Boyer. Barbara Blair. All right,
My name's Barbara.
Please.
Last name's Blair. I live on Russell Drive. I did my own little thing on my neighborhood. There's no houses in my neighborhood that's over 2,400 square feet, except for one, and it's my neighbor's, and it's a 2-story, and they added to it. I think this is unfair. We've got houses in my neighborhood that are 851 square feet. It's not fair for them to pay what I pay. It's not fair for me to pay what somebody that has 3,500 square feet or 5,000 square feet. Y'all need to think of a different way. It's not fair. It's just like if I go buy a Corvette, you go buy a Lamborghini, is it fair for you to pay what I pay for my Corvette? No, it's not fair. So I'm just telling y'all, y'all need to redo this. Y'all are fussing about, well, where can we save money? Stop letting the police officers take their cars home when they live in a different city. I don't fuss about them if they live in the city of Ocoee taking their police cars home. That's fine. But if you live in Groveland, that Ocoee cop should not be in Groveland. I shouldn't be paying for their gas, their toll roads, and their car. When I worked at the phone company, I had an issue. I was issued a vehicle. You know where my car stayed when I came home? Not at 1238 Russell Drive. It stayed at Century Lake. So y'all need to rethink what y'all are doing. People, I'm on Social Security. You know what my pay raise is going to be next year? 3.6 to 3.8. Do you think, I love the firemen, don't get me wrong. Do you think that they should get 10%? No, I'm sorry. That's a cost of living raise. That came from the government. And I know for a fact, it's hard whenever you're on Social Security. I even got a part-time job. Why? Because I needed it. And it's not fair. Do I live above my means? Nope, it's just me and my husband. And no, we don't. Rusty, you know where I live. You know how I am. I'm straightforward. I don't care. I love everybody. That's just me. And I think y'all are doing these people out here. I'm sorry. I love y'all. But you're doing these people out here wrong. Wrong. There are people out here that it takes every dime that they make to pay their bills. They may have to choose between medicine and paying their light bill. And that's another thing. Do you not get tax money on your light bill? Do you get tax money on your Spectrum bill? Do you get tax money on your water bill? Telephone bill? What do you do with that money? Where's it going? I don't know where it goes. I just know that y'all get it because I see my Duke Energy bill that's $400 to $500 a month. It's just not fair. I'm sorry. Y'all know y'all know I love you all. My dad was the city commissioner, and who knows, maybe one day I'll be sitting up there. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Barbara. Mr. Swope?
Hi, my name's Tim Swope. I live at 9166 Pristine Circle, Orlando, Florida, 32818. Our community was annexed into Ocoee, but we still have 32808, or 32818, sorry. This is an article. I'm going to not say the names of the people that work here and the commissioners, because that's the rules. We're all following the rules. And happy primary day. Hopefully everybody who can vote voted today, because that's your right. This is an article that was printed in the Orlando Sentinel 13 years ago. Florida residents simmer over fire fee, September 6, 2013. A crowd of Ocoee residents left the city hall burning mad Thursday night after city commissioners passed a controversial new fee for fire services. Despite a contentious hearing in front of a standing room crowd that spilled into the hallway outside chambers, Ocoee commissioners approved the fee, which should free up money for the city's general fund and other projects. Only the mayor voted against the fee. A parade of residents and business owners took turns at the podium for nearly 3 hours, mostly attacking the proposal and criticizing city spending and laminating tax increases. I live within my means, says a resident, who drew applause as he decried increases of cost of gas, groceries, and medical insurance. We elected you all to live within your means. Ocoee's $5.7 million fire budget consumed 16% of the general fund. The pot of public money used to pay for salaries, improve roads, build parks, provide other services, and if fire protection was funded with a special fee, the city might have money to build a new softball complex, upgrade traffic signals on State Road 50, and widen Franklin Street to State Road 429, said the assistant manager at the time. The commissioner said that the fire fee is a more equitable way to pay for fire protection because Ocoee homeowners who get homestead exemption contribute nothing in property taxes toward fire service, though they benefit from professional firefighters. The board also promised to cut property taxes to offset the fee. Ocoee's assessment is based not only on the size of the structure of the property, but also the risk of the posed. Same issue, same players, 13 years ago.
Not true.
No, just, go ahead. Wait, go ahead.
Well, I'm following the rules.
Sir, I just
Thank
said
you.
go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
No thing.
And I'm not even going to say time, I want my time back. Thank you for participating in the primaries today. Sorry they had a public hearing today on primary day so we can all hear the results. And we hope that you are elected officials. Listen, the commissioners are a 4-year term. These commissioners only make $4,000 a year. It's a part-time job. The mayor only makes $5,000 a year. It's a 4-year position. They have term limits of 2 terms. So, thank you for participating civically. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. You had one thing on that thing, sir. Even the mayor votes too. From what it says here, it says the mayor, the commissioners vote and the mayor does the agenda. We vote too. The mayor votes also.
I'm not going to speak because
No, I'm just telling you. He must be a comedian. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Maribel Vasquez. Valerie Ducharme. All right. And then Dwayne Lewis.
Good evening. My name is Maribel Vasquez. I live in 6334 Fortanini Circle here in Ocoee for 15 years. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I have several questions because I want to fully understand the financial impact this proposed assessment will have on Ocoee residents, both now and in the future. My first question is, fire department budget. Can the city provide a detailed breakdown showing how much of the fire department's budget is currently funded by property taxes and how much will be funded by the assessment? Second question. Okay. What justifies this amount? I understand that funding fire protection is necessary. My question is, what specific evidence does the city have showing that this particular assessment amount is necessary? Third, why special assessment? Why is the city choosing a special assessment instead of funding these services through the existing property tax structure or other sources of revenue? And then number 4, calculation of the assessment. Can you explain exactly how the city calculate that approximately? Well, you already did it, I think. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Valerie?
Yes, good evening. My name is Valerie Ducharme. I live at 2035 Irving Circle, Unit 103. I've been there for 6 years, and I want to say that I live in the subdivision with 199 units. None of those units even probably max out at 1,400 square feet. I have one of the smallest at 704 square feet. And I am on a fixed income, and I do have a disability. Not that I wanted any sympathy for that, but my point has already been said by several people in here. And I just want to thank everybody for all your attention and for being here to support the same goal. We're all in this for the same reason. I want to thank all of our public service people who do a wonderful job. Thank you, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Dwayne Lewis?
Yes, my name is Dwayne Lewis, and I moved to Ocoee in 2006. And unfortunately, we picked a subdivision right there by the high school and the public shopping center at West Road. And I just say that because if you're going to spend money on putting a turn lane right at that intersection, because in the morning, traffic backs up all the way to the wastewater reclamation plant. And I've been here for 20 years, and it's been the same in 20 years.
Where did you say that you're?
Talking West Road and Ocoee.
West Road and Ocoee Pocket intersection.
The county road.
Right.
Which we can't.
So that needs to be addressed. But I know we're here today about the assessment, but my question is, who scheduled this meeting on voting day? And at 6 o'clock. It's almost like the sleight of hand he was talking about, that, hey, we're going to make them choose between going to vote, because folk get off at 5 or 6, and then coming to this hearing. So where's the accountability for that? Because that makes no sense at all.
Please.
Next thing, I paid $4,400 in property taxes last year. So now you're saying, hey, I want you to pay another $600 and pay $5,000. That makes no sense to me. Especially when, since I've been here in 2006, this area has exploded with expansion. Everywhere you look, there's a huge commercial industrial park, apartment complexes, subdivisions. So that's brought to this city tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in new revenue. So why do we never not get a tax cut because of all this new revenue instead of asking us to pay more? It makes absolutely no sense to me. And second, why wouldn't you look, like somebody's already suggested, that if you got a budget problem, the first thing you do is, what do I need to eliminate to cover the cost of what I need to pay? And you get rid of the non-essential stuff. So fire service, certainly essential, but I'm sure there's a lot of waste in this budget. So why don't you spend money on getting somebody to come look at your budget and say, hey, go find, maybe we need to get Doge over here or something to go find it for y'all. Instead of saying to us, hey, you know what we want to do? We want to take that $14 million and we want to put it on your back. And then we're going to take the $14 million that we've been paying, and we're going to spend it somewhere else. That's what's going on. That's the sleight of hand you talked about. But that's ridiculous, and it's not acceptable. And for you all sitting here, right, guess what? You control who sits up here. George Oliver's not here because he's running an election, right? He got elected in 2024 with 739 votes. Mr. Roberson lost with 707. He got that seat by 32 votes. So guess what? For me, whoever votes yes on this stuff, come the next election, I'm voting no. I'm not sending you back here. If you can't figure it out, if you can't figure out how to be fiscally responsible without putting it on our backs, then we need to get somebody up there who can do it. And I'm sure there's some people who can say, we can figure out where to get this 14 million from instead of taking it from you, and you. But you all need to remember, because politicians bank on, hey, when election time comes, they're not going to remember this. They're just going to go to the ballot box and say, yes, put them back there. No, you need to take note and say, you know what? You voted for that, which means you voted against me. Why should I vote for you?
All right.
I gave you my address, but the form does say address is optional, okay?
Yes, it is.
What did he say?
He said that he gave his address, but the form, but it's optional.
It doesn't have an address. He doesn't have an address.
It's optional.
I know. Yolanda, did Yolanda get to speak? Both? Bidea, is that you? No, is that you, ma'am?
Yes.
I can't, you got?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioner, and good evening, folks. I'm here to speak on my behalf, I would say, because I don't know where the taxes are going, because it keeps on increasing every year in our houses. I pay for one house $9,000 and some change on taxes every year. And on top of that, now this one is coming up too. I mean, my drugs, my medicine costs me over $800 every month. I'm not working, I'm disabled. So I don't know where I'm going to get the money to pay all these taxes. It's too much. The inflation is keep on increasing. Everything keep on going up. But I don't know what we're going to do with all these taxes coming out. My house is not that size. It's smaller than that size. I don't know if they just don't check every house, what's the size. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good night.
Did we ever find this Nasur Bani, B-A-N-I? Did we ever find him? All right, that's it. All right. Does anybody else want to sign a form and talk before I close it? Anybody? You got? Well, you got to fill a form out.
First?
No, I'll let you do that afterwards.
I just, right there. I'll do it when I just get this so we can move the meeting. Just a comment that everyone might
Put
find
the mic down, we can't hear you.
Okay. Just a comment in case, about 2 months ago, I was doing research about the property tax and the pros and the cons. And this touches on this meeting tonight, but DeSantis had a forensic auditor go out and audit the counties. And when I was reading that article, they found $2.5 billion in fraud or waste. Now, fact check, because what I was reading, but you might want to look it up. And that's stunning, just stunning. And that was for the whole state, right? No. 17 counties. 17 counties. And I'm not sure, fact check, Orlando County said, no, you're not looking at our books. So, fact check, but I believe my sources were correct. Thank you very much.
Name?
Your name, ma'am?
Oh,
Sorry,
my name is
Dee.
Claudia Osley.
What is it?
Claudia
All right, fill that up and give us.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
All right, we have, and I think the lady, are you ma'am waiting to get?
Yes.
All right, and you sold it?
Yes. My name is Emmy Salat.
This will be the last two.
I live in 715 Lakeview Drive. I'm 27 years old. I became a homeowner at 25, which I think is a great feat for someone as young as me in this day and age. I'm a lot less experienced than a lot of people sitting here. I see a lot of gray heads that have years of wisdom in this room. And I am so glad that so many people have taken so much interest in the city's financial budget. I think as much as the city tries to do for us citizens, can they budget better? Yes, we can all budget better. All of us can budget better. I think it's a little distasteful to ask people for more money when there were, like, I think it was $2 million in a report for water fees that didn't get collected. That $2 million could have gone to the fire budget fee. But I also think the issue is we're looking at our taxes as a whole when a very small portion of our taxes as a total go to the city itself. $15 million of your tax dollars goes to Orange County. How much of those $15 million does Orange County put back into Ocoee? Not much, not at all. If we all, as mad as you guys are at these people for wanting to increase your fees, also had that same energy for the people in the county, we would have a lot more services, and these types of things would be a lot less, would happen a lot less for us. We're mad at the city, yes, I get, we don't want, I mean, I'm in nursing school, I'm not working, I live on one income in my household, I have 3 mouths to feed. It's hard, and I do have to tighten my bootstraps and, get budget in my household. But at the same time, I expect that of not only just my city, I expect that of my county, and I expect that from my state and federally as well. We have to hold everybody accountable. It's not just the people that sit up here. So if you're coming today, I want you to also go tomorrow to the county commission. Well, I don't know if it's tomorrow, but also go to the county. Also go it's at every level. It's not just your city. So you can be mad here today, and yes, you're more than valid to be here, but also be mad at the county, be mad at the state, be mad at the federal government. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I just broke the rules. I'm being thrown out.
All right, that's.
Oh, wait, throw me out.
Smack me, smack me.
Did you give her your paper? Wait a minute. Where is it at?
Hi, my name is Christina Carter.
I can't, pull that mic up.
Speak a little louder, please.
I don't have a paper, Melanie.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Christina Carter. I live here in Ocoee. I'm pretty new to the area. It's gonna be a year now. Mostly, I guess it's more of the same. Square footage. I bought a little townhome because I am on my own. I have 2 jobs to support a family, and I would like the people that have the power and to look at the method for the square footage, as everybody has said it, and also, look at the budget and priorities. I mean, I came to this area and just this might sound silly and it's very small, but I see my garbage being picked up twice a week. Like, my garbage can is just not full by the time the next trip comes. I mean, maybe little things like that. It's about budgeting, right? Like, we all got things, right? I mean, I would think that we would want maybe more money go to our fire department than a garbage can. I think we can all afford to have our garbage can. It's just as silly as that may sound, but it's not about the garbage, right? It's about the small things that will count for our budget that you guys can look at.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, that's it. I'm going to close the public hearing and bring it back up to the dais. We want to start with the commissioners, Greg, or you?
It's at the pleasure of the commission. We're prepared to answer any questions the
All right.
commission has. I know
Let's
some of
start
the
with
commissioners
commissioners.
have comments.
First, do you have any?
No,
rather have Craig answer
All
the
right.
questions.
All right, Craig.
Okay. For the record, we have Heather Encinosa available, our attorney with Neighbors Giblin Nickerson. We have vetted this legally, and we stand by our recommendation. I want to, clarify a few things that we've heard, and I'll ask Mr. Roomer to jump in as well, and I know some of you may have some comments. First of all, the inflation rate comment, our costs are going up way higher than inflation. We've presented this a number of times, but in a little over 10 years, the cost of a fire engine has gone from about $580,000 to $1.7 million. And we're having to budget to buy additional ones because as they age out, we reached a point last year where we had to replace a motor and we had to borrow a fire truck from a competing agency, and we are working to replace them. And that kind of ties to this 5-year average that we're basing this fee on, which is legal and defensible. This 5-year average builds in that our budget in the fire department is going to continue to go up because we're going to have to buy more equipment. We're going to have to buy more apparatus such as fire trucks and ambulances, and those costs are going to continue to go up. Salary costs are the number one cost in our assessable fire budget. They constitute roughly 86% of the assessable fire budget. That's the salaries. I will say this, having been the lead negotiator on several contracts, we have a great fire department, and there's a big difference between what the fire department, having your own fire department and farming it out to the county. Our fire department, allows us to have a much better personal touch. We've worked very hard to actually increase the ISO rating to a higher level with our fire department. That means committing to purchasing the right apparatus and equipment and the right training. And we've had a lot of cases, life-saving cases. We have a couple every year that are presented for the commission, and that's a direct benefit of that. Our department, during this most recent negotiation, they took less than what the county in Orlando are paying, and there's not enough supply to meet the demand for first responders in general, police and fire. But our fire department actually took less than what the county and city of Orlando, a couple others, moved up to in an effort to try to help cut costs. But the reality of the matter is they're continuing to go up in a very unnatural way. And, speaking to the gentleman or the lady that was talking about Orange County just gave their fire union a 35% pay increase retro from a previous contract that had not been done, and now they're getting ready to start a new contract. The county and the city of Orlando are driving the market up into unbelievable rates. So we've been faced with having to look at trying to be able to compete and keep our fire department in line and be able to keep people hired. We actually have, we're almost at full complement of people, and we've worked hard through various ways, including with our union members. There is a big difference between having your own department and farming it out to the county in a lot of ways. That was a topic that came up 10 years ago, roughly, when we were talking about putting the fire assessment in at zero, okay? At the time, and, as a city manager, it'd be great to cut that budget out and just say, we're going to lower the millage by that amount. That would have been great. At the time, the last time this commission looked at it, it made sense, actually, because they were going to keep all of our stations open, hire all of our people, and keep the same level of service, okay? We were probably going to lose that personal touch, but fiscally it made more sense. The county is looking at, right now, and I attended a meeting with all the city managers in the county last week, and the county is studying to increase their MSTU. That's what they charge for, instead of an assessment. We're charging a non-ad valorem assessment. We're not allowed to set up an MSTU, which is an extra millage rate that they assess for fire, okay? The county's either gonna go up on theirs, or they're gonna convert it to an assessment. That is gonna happen. Most of you in the audience would be paying more than this proposed $383 fire assessment if the commission directed us to look at consolidating with Orange County. That's not, if we just said, let's consolidate with the county, that's not, we're not paying that cost. That MSTU rate is going to get passed back to you. So that's a 2.63 or 2.83 additional millage points for fire service. They also are allowed to charge for police service, which we're not. Mr. Rumor here has presented a number of times during presentations a dollar bill graphic that shows every tax dollar that you pay. And 39 cents goes to Orange County Public Schools. 27 cents of every tax dollar you pay goes to Orange County. And we're getting 30 cents on the dollar. Okay, and that's in property taxes. What we get from the county is our proportionate share of the constitutional offices, which we've asked what that is and have not been given that number. And it pays for mosquito control and animal control. That's what we get from the amount that's collected from you by Orange County, and that's almost what we collect from you, okay? So I'm going to kind of, in a nutshell, and let Mr. Rumor, and if our attorney wants to weigh in or we can address questions one-on-one, I want to, leave you with a very simple thing, okay? Our proposed budget this year, we did reduce it. We're doing everything we can, including our own internal forensic audits, which we've done several. Commissioner Oliver was really big about pushing that a few years ago. We've been doing them, and we're constantly looking at ways to try to streamline. We haven't cut any services out yet, okay? We can do that. Depending on the vote here tonight, we may have to cut services. But for this extra couple $100 a year, we're able to keep everything, in place that you currently have. But the costs are far exceeding the revenues. And they were doing that in 2013 when we first put a fire fee on the books at $0. That's when we started to realize at some point we're not going to be bringing in enough revenue to cover the cost and the level of service that people are accustomed to. And so call it a sleight of hand, it's a diversification of revenue, is what it is. We are very transparent in the sense, we can tell you where every dollar we can tell you every dollar and cent that comes in, and we can tell you every dollar and cent that goes out and what it goes to. And we have that available. If any of you want to schedule a meeting with our staff to come in and look at it, it's open book. But there's not a lot of options here tonight. Your costs are going up so much on fire that we have to increase our fire assessment. There's no other option aside from going to the county. Now, I will tell you, that's going to turn into people paying a lot more, whether you're a commercial business owner like Mr. Boyer or a single-family resident. You're going to most likely wind up paying more if we were to look at doing this with the county. And like I said, the county will be increasing their fees. But you don't have enough money coming in to be able to afford all the services we provide. And the two that have been identified in our community survey were police and fire. And our police budget alone is almost what we collect in property tax revenue, okay? And we're down a few police officers. We actually aren't full. We're recruiting like crazy. We're down a few firefighters. But the police budget alone is almost what we collect in property tax revenue. So that leaves us with looking at the options, and there aren't very many. You either go up on the millage, which I wouldn't recommend, because we don't know if the millage is even going to be valid. There's an amendment that's going to be voted on in November that can completely change what the value of a millage point is. So our only option is to increase the assessment. The deficit between what we collect and what our costs are is still there. So we have a defined public need for this assessment. And the last thing I'll say, and the fire chief can speak to this, but the response on a small house versus a large house requires the same amount of resources. And the same number of people riding on the fire truck, same number of people riding in the ambulance. One of the things that we have done to try to pull it out of the general fund is we're moving to an EMS transport program that is an enterprise, meaning that we're going to try to fund it from the transport fees that we collect. We presented that to the commission already, and they've approved it. That makes the fire operating budget very transparent, what the costs are. And we're happy to provide an annual report designating what portion of that budget that the commission, that the fire assessment goes to. That's very easy to do. Right now, given that 86% of the assessable fire budget is personnel costs, that's going to eat up the revenue that this assessment generates. So, you know, in summary, I would just state that we are proposing a ceiling of the $597. We are proposing to set the residential assessment at $383.90 for this year. And depending on what happens in November, we may have to come back again. I also, you know, have spoken individually to some of the commissioners and have no problem with them directing us to come back at mid-year and report back on revenues collected and forecast and propose an actual credit to property owners, depending on what happens. But the need does not change for additional revenue to offset the cost of the fire department. And we're happy to, if you'd like to contact the city, I'll have city staff open the books and you can see exactly everything that we have said is true. And I apologize for a lot of the misinformation that's been circulated publicly. We also have a website you can go to and learn more about it as well. So we'll entertain any questions directly from the commission.
Go ahead. Hang on. Mike, what was last year in the budget, their amount they paid, the average house paid?
So under the...
That still can't.
Under the current...
Hold on.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
What was the average house last year, what was the paid that they paid fire fee?
About $242.
That was the average for
Yes.
most homes?
Yes.
So in reality, it's going up $140. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. It's not an additional $383. The fee is $383. So
That's what I'm
the
saying.
difference between, yes.
So some people may paid more.
Yes. Actually, Mayor, Mr. Lewis will receive a $30 discount on his fire fee from what he pays this year.
Dwayne Lewis, I don't think he left.
Yeah,
Oh, you
Dwayne-
there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you pay $401 right now, it'll be $383. So you'll get a discount. It's not an additional $6 or an additional $3, it's just one fee. So,
So it's not something that's just starting this year, it was before, but it's just percentage added to it. All right.
yes. And Mayor, we did, we just took a sampling of homes. Yeah. Yes, sir.
We cannot hear with the mumbling, please. Ma'am? Please. All right. We're trying to get the answers for everybody here we can.
And just to further answer that, just in another way, in June, we showed a slide. We took homes from the northeast, southwest part of the city near unincorporated, so we showed the difference between those. And in those 10 houses in the Ocoee, the average rate was $327.50, and the 10 from Orange County under their millage was 681.52. That was just a random sampling, just based off.
All right.
So,
All right. So, all right. Scott?
All right. I am, just a note, I'm going to address the public comment in my public comments. So I'll be ignoring those for now since we were told they weren't about this subject. Let's be honest. Politicians typically make promises they can't keep. And statutory letters that go out really suck. And they've caused a lot of confusion and a lot of anger. I wrote a lot of notes, and many of you made the same comments. You know, I can't believe it's going up 70% in 1 year. Well, it isn't, but the letter does kind of sound that way. And so hopefully staff and everyone has done a good job of answering and addressing your questions. I want to make a comment about public participation. This is actually great. This is how it's supposed to work. I sat here for over 15 years in the audience, mostly by myself, before I finally got frustrated with my commissioner and I decided to run in 2023. So to your comment, sir, I wasn't here in 2013. I was in the audience. You said, that's fine. Same players, you said same players, not the same players. And a lot of this, as you saw, has happened not since 2013, but in 2023, in 2024, and 2025, when we went to 36%. And there were a few people here then, but we had meetings in May, we had meetings in June, we've had budget workshops, and literally there's 1 or 2 people here. And I would just say to you, because many of you, and I engage on Facebook, you know that, I'm not afraid of Facebook. Many people have said, well, they've already made up their mind. There's no point to go. Or we're going to go and we're going to comment, but it won't make a difference. And the truth is, as the staff said, it was in May and June that the city voted to apply a demand capacity and availability methodology. We're here tonight simply to vote on the percentage. And unfortunately, I think some of you made some really good comments and some really good arguments, and maybe that would have made a difference. But at this point, the die is kind of cast with the work the city's done. One of the things that has come up is, well, why is there a max cap? Why is it 597? Well, because this process that they've gone through with lawyers and consultants is super expensive. And they're trying to make sure that they don't incur that expense again for a very long time, that there's a cap, and that it's hypothetically way out there. And so when people say, well, there's no way it could ever be this amount, well, that's kind of the purpose of the cap, is to make sure that hypothetically that cap, that 597, is so high that if we ever did, God forbid, get there, it wouldn't be for at least 5 or 6 years, so we wouldn't have to pay these expenses again and save money. Staff, I'll make those comments at the end, specifically about the city manager. But he said they've done internal audits. What we didn't do was involve politics. What we didn't do was no commissioner advocated for one of their buddies or their cronies to come in as a consultant and get paid to do an internal audit, which is what was discussed and what is still being discussed. Craig did those and actually didn't even tell us until he had the results. It's true, to one comment, they found an issue in the water department. There was a large write-off. How many people know there was a write-off of water bills? Okay, all of you should know that. $500,000 they wrote off because over the years, the water department wasn't following collections policy. And Craig found that and stopped that. Craig's been the city manager for about 2 years. The previous city manager was here for 20. And there's been a lot of cleanup to do, frankly. I'll stay on cost cutting. Because you're right. The first thing we should do is cut costs. And it was interesting because so many of you said that, and then somebody would get up and say, I saw that the general fund went down. And I was like, I wonder if anybody's going to figure this out. We have cut costs. We've cut a lot of cost. And as I said, especially the last few months, we've been having discussions here at the commission of should we have 1 weekly trash pickup or 2? Should we still pay for recycling? What should we do with the bulk? Should we put out the waste connection, is it the current? Should we put that contract out to bid? They actually wanted an increase. And I was like, no, you're not doing a good enough job to get an increase. Actually, we need some concessions. We actually pay almost $250,000 in expenses for somebody to follow the trash guy around and make sure he does his job. I think they should reimburse the city for that. So we've been having, to your point, the common sense of cut costs, hold people accountable. We've been doing that. I've been doing that. The city manager has been doing that. And the other commissioners have been doing that. It's not a magic bullet. Doge. Doge went into Orange County and found hundreds of millions of dollars of waste and fraud. Mostly because counties do social services and cities don't, and that's where the fraud is. The fraud's in the tourism promotion board where there's over a dozen people who make $300,000 a year and do nothing. So to the lady who said go to the county, that would help us all. The millage rate at the city has, I believe, don't quote me, but I think it's either stayed the same or been cut something like 12 years in a row. And the commission promised to do that, and people said that's what they wanted. So it's a good question. Why don't you raise the millage? Well, the last time anybody checked in with the commission, it was lower the millage. Find a way to keep lowering the millage, which is what the commission has done. So they need to hear from you. We need to hear from you. The general fund's down. The question about why the fire budget is lower, because as he said, they took EMS out, which is almost $4 million to an enterprise fund. So if you said it was the same, but it's $4 million of expenses was taken out, that's about what the increase is. As I recall, the fire contract, the last 3-year contract, the first year increase for fire salaries was 15% to get them competitive with, as he said, the county and surrounding cities. It's the same with the police. We just did, I think, a 10% increase from like 52 to 56 or something. Starting salary for police because we're 9, 10 police short. We can't compete with OPD. We can't compete with Orange County. And if we got rid of our fire department and we went to Orange County, it would be even more. So it's a catch-22. Why don't you do a phased implementation? This is the worst one. I've been here for 3 years. My opinion, I don't know how many of y'all know my opinion on this. Probably nobody. In 2023, when I got here, again, a politician who didn't win, I'm going to say, trying to find a good word for this. There isn't a good word for this. Was demagoguing the fire contract. and was making a point that there were all these things that went in the general fund, and they were, shaken up, and nobody could see what came out. Nobody could trace anything. We weren't doing proper accounting. We weren't doing zero-based budgeting. And I came in, when Craig wanted to be the city manager, he asked me what it would take for my support. I said, I want you to reform the city. I want you to implement zero-based budgeting. I want you to do some internal audits, and I want you to cut costs. And for the last 2 years, the city's had a zero-based budget process. And what I said is, I'd like to see a fire fund. Take this with a grain of salt, hear me out. I'd like to see a fire assessment that is equal to 100% of a fire fund, so we can see exactly what we pay for exactly what we get in fire. I think that brings transparency. EMS, police, move all of these things from the general fund that have direct cost, and then keep indirect cost and overhead for general city funding in the general fund. That's what I want. Some of you know I'm a chief financial officer. I'm a licensed CPA. I'm a finance person. I make a budget. I'm working on a budget at my company right now, which is larger than the city budget, and that's what I do. And to your point, if you can't see it, you can't find it, and you can't hold somebody accountable, and you can't cut it. So those of you that want cost cutting should want more direct costing and more transparency in your tax bill. We have increased, another thing, when I got here, everybody said we had $40,000 in the budget for sidewalks in this whole city. In my neighborhood, I spent $75,000 that year in an HOA. What do you have, like 600,000 or something crazy this year?
Yeah.
So people said, why are the streets terrible? Why are the sidewalks terrible? You need to spend more money on streets and sidewalks. So we're responding to that, and we are. The itemization. Again, I'm a licensed CPA. I don't do tax, but I looked it up while you were talking. Since tax reform, since the simplification of tax reform, 5% of Floridians itemize on their taxes. The rest take the standard deduction. And the adjusted income of those people who itemize is $188,000. So I don't know how many people in this room that would apply to. Mr. Boyer had a great comment, and I actually agree. I would recommend, they're separating the residential and the non-residential, and there probably should be a category for commercial suppressed, separate from non-residential. Everything else works that way. Insurance works that way. If you have a building that's large enough that you're required to have a sprinkler system, you pay a different rate. That makes sense. Demand availability. One of the reasons that demand availability, the fire chief answered, if you have a 600 square foot shed or a 5,000 square foot home and you call the fire department, why do they send the same response? Well, government did it to you. Lawyers did it to you. Litigation did it to you. The non-residential, they send the big tower truck. So that's why they pay more. But again, your participation is required. And when government and the lawyers sue and people say, oh yeah, you should have sent a fire truck and an ambulance and a police car to every single emergency, and you say, yeah, you're driving up the cost of demand availability. Lastly, I want to say this is kind of personal, and many of you shared your personal things. I got a wonderful letter from a guy. He said he was 86 years, you all got this letter. He said he was 86 years old. He was the sole living relative and he was raising his 13-year-old great-granddaughter on $2,100 of pension or disability. And he said he had cut everything. He had no TV, no life insurance, no homeowner's insurance. And he was spending every dollar that he had trying to give that young lady an opportunity and a chance. And many of you and many of us are struggling with health problems and financial problems and stress. We are aware of that, and we don't take that lightly, and we're not trying to ignore that, and we do hear you. They're to the point, yeah, we pay spectrum taxes, we pay Duke taxes, we pay we just pay. I hate it too. But we do as a community, it's very hard to, and you see what's happened with Tallahassee trying to create these exemptions and class warfare and pit people against each other. It's not working out real well. But we do need to help those in need. Government isn't the best place to do it, in my opinion, local city government. But if you have a little extra and you know someone that's in that situation, or you can contribute to a charity, there's charities that help people pay power bills and light bills and tax bills. Think about contributing to that. There are people that need help, and we do need to help them. Those are all my comments. I hope, if I didn't answer your question, I'm sorry. I took 3 pages of notes, and I tried to address your comments, and I just want to say thank you, and we need this. We need this more often. And so if you're available and you're able to come, why are we on Tuesday night? Well, the meetings are the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6:15. So that's when they are. They're consistent. If you have time in your schedule, if you have time to get involved, if you have time to volunteer on a city board, we need your help. We need your participation. We need your votes. Okay? We need your voice. Thank you.
Commissioner Wilson?
I don't know what I can add to what Scott just said. He really touched on some of the concerns, questions that you had, and what we have as commissioners have to respond to. You know, Ms. Solette, I'm going to pick on you for a second. I almost got thrown out because I clapped. But you're right. We need you to go to the county. You know, we like the services that we have in Ocoee, but we have to pay for them. That's just part of what happens. I look at what I'm paying, and I just use I pull up my tax bill. I'm paying the school system over $1,000. I don't have any children in school.
Me neither.
Okay? Half the time when my kids went to school, they went to private school, so I paid both, didn't I? I am retired. I live on Social Security. We are no different than probably most of you. You know, when you say, we're not the bad guys. We're just up here trying to do the best we can for you. Yes, my income, I don't know what my Social Security went up this, but it wasn't enough to pay a lot of bills. I'm paying the school system. I'm paying the county $587.94. What am I getting? We just heard Craig tell us what you're getting. I'm paying the city of Ocoee $656.26. Boy, I'm getting a lot for my dollar. As far as I'm concerned, I'm getting police, I'm getting fire. I'm getting someone out there at 3 in the morning when that pipe breaks. I'm getting someone out there fixing that water pipe, or the opposite. We won't talk about that. I was warned by my family not to say it. What I'm getting for $650 is a lot. Okay, I'm getting nothing from the county for the same money. And then I look, I'm paying $344 for garbage. Garbage was mentioned. We are going out for an RFP, request for proposal. I'm sorry, we love to throw these acronyms around but we're going out for a request for proposal. Our current company wants an increase. Everyone wants an increase. But then when we ask you, do you want 2 days of garbage pickup or 1 day? What do we hear? You want 2 days. We've got to pay for it if you're going to get 2 days. If you want to put everything in one can And you can do that, but I tell you, I see a lot of my neighbors twice a week with it flowing over the top. Then you say you want recycling. Well, do you put the wrong things in the recycling bin, so you know what happens to that? It goes in the dump. We don't even have recycling. We do have recycling. We have recycling every other week. Every other Wednesday, I get recycling. My container is full.
Just wait.
City of Ocoee, yes, you do. But, when I see a laundry basket hanging off the top of that recycling bin, guess where that recycling goes? That whole load goes in the dump. Okay, you put the wrong things in, but you want to pay $344 and you want to talk about, do you want recycling? My folks want recycling. I guess in Winter Garden, if you want recycling, you're paying a separate company for it, from what I understand. Again, right now, my non-ad valorem for fire is $274.28. I have an 1,800 square foot house. It's gonna go up $9.14 if we approve $383.90. I don't consider that a lot. When I have to call the fire department, I want them there. I want them there to help me. And to me, $383.90 is not too much to ask to have the service that we have been accustomed to. Last year, I called 911. I thought I was having a heart issue. Okay, they were there shortly. I wasn't, but it was nice that they were there. They took me to the hospital. Thank heavens there was no problem. But I'm 70 years old. I could have those problems. You could be 25 and have those problems, but we want the services that we have become accustomed to. I think Craig and Scott answered a lot of questions. I brought my budget book tonight. Did anyone read that? I did. Thank you. But we had a budget session here, a budget workshop. I can probably count on one hand how many were here. Scott talks about he was here for 11 years, 10 years before I became a commissioner. I sat out here, and I can tell you, there's probably 2 or 3 people that sat here and talked about the budget. Read it, looked at it, knew what it was. There's a lot of expenses in there, but we need those services. If we cut those services out, you'd be complaining. Right now, we're looking at 22 roads that are being addressed in the next budget. $500,000 in sidewalks. These are things that, and I am a more established district. I don't like to call us old, we're established. And, but what are my chief complaints? Roads and sidewalks. Those are some of the chief things that I've had to deal with. And we have worked very hard to bring up the budget from $50,000 to $500,000 for sidewalks. And that's just a small portion of the city that will be addressed this year. Because we have a lot of trees. We love our trees, but in my district, we have a lot of trees. What happens when you have trees? The sidewalks lift. So, again, we are not the bad guys. We're just, unfortunately, I guess, we're kind of painted that way. Because we are trying to do the best we can for you as residents. I ask you, read the budget book. Please, I've spent plenty of nights reading that. It may be very boring to you, but it's not to us because we're trying to get you the services that you have grown accustomed to. Unfortunately, you got to pay for them. I don't know any other way to put it. We're here to serve. I think it was to serve we're here to serve at the pleasure. Yes, we are. My answer is, you can hire me or you can fire me. I've been here 17 years. When the election comes up, I'm here at your pleasure. You can fire me. I understand that. Let's see, I'm trying to look at all the things. They talked about the police department taking home their cars. If they are outside of the JPA, they pay for that service. They pay to take that car home with them. Nothing is free. So if they're living in Groveland, they're paying, just so you know that. So please, don't think that, I'm not a Facebook person. I'm not a Nextdoor person. I try not to be. But I have a lot of folks who like to show me stuff all the time. And I look at it and I think, if you would just call me, I can answer your questions. Some of that stuff on there is not, to me, realistic. It isn't. And I feel that people write in, this is my opinion, they write in there to get you going. And what do? It just feeds it. And then by the time you get to the 5th and 6th and 10th comment, You're steaming. And is it true? Call us. We have cell phones. Thank you, I have a cell phone from the city. I keep you off my personal phone. But it's for you to call me and ask me questions, ask concerns. Please, don't feed into the frenzy. Ask us. We're here at your pleasure. I get calls on the weekends, I get calls in the evening, and I take them. If not, I call you back. If I'm eating dinner, I'd like to call you back. But again, we're here. We have a high ISO rating for the fire department. Guess what? That has an effect on your homeowner's insurance. But when you get your homeowner's bill, do you scream and yell at them, or do you just pay it or go to a new provider? You're here, we're trying to tell you that we have this ISO rating, and guess what? That has an effect on your homeowners. Am I correct, Chief? Thank you. I'm trying to come up, see what the answers that Scott did not already address. I think we're good. I'm sorry if we have to do this, but we're doing it because we want you to have the best services you can. I don't know how else to say that, and I speak genuinely. I am going to pay, as everyone else up here is going to be paying, just like you are. It's hurting us just as much. So, thank you. I think I'm being pulled in by the mayor. I can feel the hook. Did you get the hook?
Nope.
You can, okay. Thank you.
Real quick, before I give it to Commissioner first, Mr. Swope, I know you live in Rose Hill. That we've been working on that for 10 years to get the zip codes changed. They're in the final processes now of working and getting the votes. It is a long issue to get it done. We've been fighting with the Postal Service for probably 16 years. But it's in the mix with if you pay attention to what goes on with the Congress and the senators, you can understand why it takes a while. Because we had one guy that voted no on it, and I for the life of me, cannot figure out what he was doing. But we've got it now moving into the House or the Senate, and we're working on it. We've been working on that, and that's one of the reasons the zip code problems. We have 6 zip codes in the city instead of 1. 6. So just to let you know, we are working to try to get that straight. That costs money too. So we've been fighting with that for
17 years.
Years, but I think it's finally gonna get to the point where we can get somebody to vote for it. But when I get through in a minute, I'm gonna give something probably shouldn't do, but when we get through, I'm gonna give a couple of minutes for a couple of questions from somebody.
I'd just like to add a little footnote about your fire department. For about the past 15 years or so, the fire department and the city has been working extremely hard to achieve national accreditation. They've done that. They are one of 308 fire departments out of 27,000 in the nation that have national accreditation. That's 1% of all fire departments in the country. When I first came here in 1995, our ISO rating was 5/9. Don't expect you to understand that. Just take my word for it. It's the lowest you can get. It wasn't doing a thing for any of your insurance rates in the city. Over that same period of time, the fire department in the city, all the departments in the city had to be involved in it. They worked to get that increased to ISO 1. That also represents the top 1% in the country that have ISO 1 ratings. We have that and national accreditation. So, I don't know if it's any consolation to you, but you can rest assured that your tax dollars is paying for the best fire, police, and EMS service that money can buy. So if that's any consolation, I hope that helps.
That's it?
I'll make a motion if you want.
For what? I'm not done. We're not.
You're not done, okay.
We're not done. I heard a while ago, they were talking about the water cutoffs and how much money it was. Well, talking about helping people, that's why we had some people that couldn't pay their water bills. What are you gonna do? You cannot cut off the water and leave the house with no water. And that's what the problem is. That money was covered. That is helping people. Because that amount came to what, $500-something thousand, but the people didn't pay their water bill and couldn't pay the water bill. You can't shut the water off. I mean, what are you gonna do? Shut the water off, and then we got kids and family, you can't do it. And we couldn't do it. So you have to take advantage. And Craig, what is the average for a house that pays what goes on in the city for taxpayer?
The average cost of providing services
Yes.
from the general fund per household is $1,500.
So if you don't, we have a lot of people that don't even pay $1,500. Their taxes does not come up near what it costs to do the services for what they're getting. But that's part of everybody sharing and everybody moving to get to where the budget. And 12 years ago, 12 years ago, when I got in mayor, we were right at 6 millage rates, 6. In the last 11 years, we have not raised that millage rate. We have lowered it down to 4.9. We have not raised, and I don't think you want to raise the millage rate if you can. You don't want to do that. It's going to raise but if that's what citizens want, tell them to vote on it and change it. But that's, to me, I wouldn't do that. Everybody's talking about how many years you lived here and all that stuff. I've lived here 71 years in this town. I was here way before anybody else was here, maybe a couple of people, but I love this place. Huh?
She went, wow. She went, wow.
Oh.
Oh.
I just like tonight, there's always somebody got to make comments about somebody shifting in their hands or whatever you want to call it. You can't do that with the audits, and nobody does that. If you want to do that, you've got to be, they need to go. Now, and that's another thing. How many of you in here have been to the county? They're the ones, we're paying them more, you're paying them more money than you're really paying us. How many's gone to the county? Well, yeah, 2. I see 2 people. We don't get anybody that goes down there and complains to them. It's just like they're raised 35% for the firefighters, which that makes us either gonna lose firefighters or we gotta raise our firefighter fees. So, and do you want to not have the fire department? I don't think so. And she was talking about going to the, I had it wasn't nothing major, it was a stomach virus a couple months ago, and everybody thought I was dying. I guess they put me in the ambulance, took me to the hospital, but all it was a stomach virus. But you know how much? That was $27,000 at that hospital, because I went there, and they took me there because I had a stomach virus. So I didn't want to go, but I didn't have a choice. But I got stuff wrote all over this place here, so I'm going to say a few things when we're talking. If we don't do that, we're going to hurt our fire department, and we don't want to do that. We want the fire department to be there. We got a great fire department, and everybody knows. And they asked me, why is that 2 trucks and an ambulance going to the fire? That's what they do. That's what every fire department does. You go anywhere and find them. I was in Orlando the other day, and there was 4 fire trucks went by me with different vehicles going to an issue. So that's what they do, and that's for your safety. It's for our safety. And like I said, the fire tax is something that's going to help keep our fire department where it's at. And we want it to be there and keep it where everybody's safe. And then the other thing we was talking about is garbage. Let me tell you something. I ride around town every week. I go everywhere. People are putting stuff in their recycling that don't go there. I mean, it's like a construction. I know, but it's like my wife still makes me take that blue can out there, and it's recycles. But I can tell you, my neighbors, I got some neighbors I've seen that move in the rental houses, they got everything but the kitchen sink in that can. So that causes more money to the garbage people when they're going off. Now, the other night they had that vote, and I don't know if I think I'm right. I voted no on these other guys that are here now. I voted no that night, and I think somebody voted yes. I don't remember exactly, but they've done nothing but have complaints, and believe me, if you want to get my phone and go through it, I can give you the numbers of all the people that I get calls from. I don't think another person at this place here gets as many calls as I get. And if you've dealt with me, you know I come to your house. You call me, I'm coming to your house. I'm not just gonna get on Facebook and send it back. I'm gonna go see you. Because I like to talk to people face to face, and you can get mad at us or say stuff about what we do. It's just like doing functions for citizens. It's like having parks. Do you want the parks gone for the kids? Do you want we call them senior, I started to say old people, and that's me. The senior citizens place cut down? We don't want to do that. You got to have them. In Winter Garden, I seen it the other day, Winter Garden spent $1,085,000 on the functions like they do downtown with the music functions and the things they do. 1.85. We don't do that. Yes, we've done it. Somebody always has to bring up the music fest. And they always show up at it, though. They come to it. But I have 500-something people send me a thing a couple of weeks ago. Not one of them was upset about that part. Not one of them. Because somebody said I was too old. And that, I guess that's because I went to the hospital. But we're all over. But I'm telling you, that part never happens. We tried it, and our city manager has done a great job. He has come in, he worked 18 years here as a planner and did a great job when he did that. He is a good young man, a good Christian man that works to do the things that's supposed to be done in the city. Do you not want certain benefits in the city? We've tried to put in a downtown, a little bit of that's coming on. We got other stuff in the process of going. But the police department's not cheap either. They're trying to hire people. They're what, 7 or 8? Where's the chief? 7 or 8, 9 people missing. So we can't get them because everybody else raises. Winter Garden had to raise their police. Oakland and Windermere, we all had to raise our things, keep the police officers. So, and it's just, like I said, the cost of doing the parks, sidewalks, I get calls about the sidewalks. My grandmother can't walk down the street because the sidewalk's bent. So we have to go fix them. And it's a constant. Mowing grass. Who sees the county coming out here and mowing their grass? Nobody. Does anybody call about them? Nope. So please, the things that, and it's Mr. Lewis? Mr. Lewis, that road you're talking about is Orange County. The problem coming from that road is Orange County School. That they do not do anything to help us on the road traffic or anything. We offered to take that road over and do it. You know how much they offered out of all the Ocoee Poplar Road for us to take it and do it? And they've taken all the taxes. When you have a building built, they get the impact fees too, just like we do. They wanted to give us $16,000. $16,000. So you get mad at us, but if we want to fix that ourselves, it's not our road. But we tried to. And that school, I had 5 children went through the schools here in this system, and they've been out of school a long time. I'm still paying, and I'm in the 70s, I'm still paying school tax. But nobody complains. But I hope everybody understands that my job as the mayor, they give me that and tell me to make sure I go by it. And that's why I tell you, when we got rules, you got to do the rules. And just like his class, when my grandson speaks up, he gets in trouble. So, but I just want you to know that I've spent a lot of years working in the city, and I've run for office. I've run when it was a 2-year deal. I've run when it was a 3-year deal. I've run when it was 4 years. And the only reason I do it is because my wife was born and raised half a block back here. She's been here all her life. We want to do everything we can to make citizens happy. I'm trying to help a young lady right now, lives in the trailer park, that was left to her. She's lived there 40 years with her parents, and it is not a very nice trailer. Storm came through, tore the power pole down. Nobody will help get it fixed. They have no power in it, none at all. So they're having to sleep out somewhere in a pop with some people they know because they cannot get into their trailer. I've been trying to run up somebody that'll help do that. I cannot get anybody to do it. I'm still working this because I'm probably going to end up doing it myself. But the power company won't do it. Then the guy that does the poles, they won't do it until you get the power cut to do it. So, like I said, you want to run for office, but it ain't as fun thing as you think it is, I can tell you. Because my part of it is, a lot of you, like I said, I heard tonight, 20 years, 10 years, 7 years, I've lived here, I lived in I grew up on the north side of town here in a little 1,200 square foot house with 7 of us. No air conditioning, none of that. So I know exactly what it is when you're having a tough time, you know. So I want the citizens of Ocoee to be proud of it. I want us to do the things that we help citizens. And that's what we try to do. But like I said, election time will be in March. If you want to go to that, it is. And we do have term limits. The term limits started after 23. So I apologize to you if you think I was mean by saying don't laugh, don't clap, and don't. That's part of what we're supposed to have, where we can have people get a chance to talk. Now, I'm going to do something I probably shouldn't do, because I'm going to let you, if you raise your hand, I'll let you come up and do 2 minutes, if you got something to say. I can't hear you. You got to come up there. We have to, the reason that is, it has to go on record. Yeah, go on record.
Commissioner Wilson, excuse me, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Commissioner Wilson mentioned that proposed fiscal year 2027 budget, I believe that's in front of you, right? Is that correct? Okay, so I actually had a copy of that. I ran it through ChatGPT because I don't have any time to read that because I work, I cut my grass, I raise my kids. Most citizens don't have time to attend meetings because they have lives to pay and lives to provide for and things like that. But anyways, I digress. My question to you guys is, if public safety spending has decreased by 1.8 million, why is the fire assessment revenue increasing by 4.7 million? Thank you.
All right, hold on. Say your name, sir, while you're up.
Sorry, my name is Jacob Garber. I live in Bryn Mawr Estates. Thank you.
Sit right there. Craig, can you answer that question?
Sure, I'd be happy to. The fire assessment, state your question one more time.
Yes,
for me,
sir.
So
And again, this is via ChatGPT with that plugged into it, right? Because I'm not that smart. If public safety spending is decreasing by 1.8 million, public safety spending decreasing by 1.8 million, why is fire assessment revenue increasing by 4.7 million? Thank you.
Okay, I can answer that. Public safety spending, we took an approach with all departments to try to decrease spending as much as possible with the proposed budget, okay? The fire assessment proposed is based on a 5-year projected average of costs, okay? So it's not just looking at this year's budget. It's looking at a projected series of costs, including apparatus, equipment, and personnel costs. The personnel costs this year are going up next year because we do a 3-year contract with our union. And that's standard. Most local governments do a 3-year contract. And our union was very kind to us with the most recent one. But those costs go up every year. So we set a fee based on a 5-year average projection. So I would ask you to separate that from what you see in the budget this year, because the fire assessment is set on projected average costs, okay? And it's going to go up. The budget, Mike Rumer here, our Assistant City Manager, presented that in June and in May when we talked about the methodology and the initial rate resolution. We showed and we're happy to provide that to anybody that wants to reach out to our office, but our costs are going up astronomically of operating a fire department over the next 5 years. The other thing in there that we've talked about a little bit is, Amendment 3, we don't know if it's going to pass or not. That's one of the reasons I wouldn't recommend a millage rate increase over an assessment increase, because if it does pass, millage is not dollar for dollar. It's going to be less, and then the commission's going to be capped at what they can raise the millage rate to for both residents and non-residents. But to answer your question, yes, spending went down this year for everybody. There were capital projects that we wanted to purchase this year that we bumped out, and then, as a couple of the other commissioners have stated, we actually are trying to pull non-assessable expenditures out. So we created an enterprise fund with EMS Transport, okay? And they're going to absorb some of those costs, but what Mr. Rumor has presented a couple times to this commission, to the public, and it's available on our webpage. You can see that on our fire assessment webpage. It's linked to the city's webpage. You can see the budget over the next 5 years, okay? And it's going up tremendously. And that's mostly due to personnel costs, equipment replacement, and apparatus replacement, and the rising costs. You know, I mentioned this at the last commission meeting, but there's actually a class action lawsuit right now filed against the companies that most cities and counties buy fire trucks from. Because, you know, like I said earlier, 10 years ago, it was $580,000, $600,000 for a fire engine, and the same fire engine today is 1.7 million. And there's a lead time when you can take possession of it of 18 months. So maybe higher, it's up to 30 months.
Your
the
2
fire
minutes
chief.
is up. Did you get an answer?
Thank you.
So,
It's somewhat, but we'll talk.
Feel free to come in and speak to any of our staff members.
I will, thank you very much.
We're happy to open the books.
2 seconds.
all right.
Partly it's because it's not apples to apples. What he's saying is so you said it went down 1.8 or something? Okay, he took 4 million of EMS out. So if it was X and you took 4 million out and it's only down 1, there's another 2 or 3 million that went up. It's not apples to apples. Could the finance department probably do a reconciliation of that for you? Sure, for some cost.
All right.
I didn't get a chance to put the city budget into ChatGPT and have it read
2
it for
minutes
me.
to the
I
max.
actually
I got it time.
went through each 330 pages and read them.
Thank you.
On my vacation, by the way. Terrible time to read it. What I want to know is from the 15 million that we paid to Orange County, what are the services that you mentioned that we get?
Okay. We get animal control.
Okay, for the raccoons.
Mosquito control. Okay. And then our proportionate share of the costs for the constitutional offices, like the tax collector, property appraiser, supervisor of elections, et cetera.
Jail.
Jail.
No, correct, Department of Corrections, all that. Now, we have asked for what that actual cost is and what our proportionate share is, and, you know, we haven't pressed it with them, but, you know, we're also negotiating with them about reclaimed water right now also.
And how much would, hypothetically, changing the garbage fees and getting recycling removed as a service, how much would that save the city?
Well, we can't answer that yet. Here's what I can tell you, and we had a small briefing before the commission recently about this because the contract is up for renewal and the existing contractor wanted an increase to the rates in order to continue with the renewal. And the commission chose to direct us to go ahead and issue a request for proposals to evaluate them. Now, what I can tell you, and our public works director, you know, can attest to, is that the costs in the market are going up to over $400 annually, okay? So right now, it's probably in the 380 range. It's going to probably go up. And this is, you know, this is another process we encourage the public to come out and be a part of, because, you know, that will be the time to decide, do we want one garbage pickup a week, and how much of a difference does that make? For what we have, it's going up to about $420 a year in the market. And that's based on our public works director talking to Orange County, talking to a lot of cities and a lot of different contractors.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Got one more?
Can I get one too, sir? You have to look this way. 2 minutes.
Yeah, when he gets, you gonna, come ahead, sir. You come up.
It's very simple. I just want to propose ideas because everybody has concerns about cost and expense, but this is a silly idea. But I need to ask you a question. I need to ask if the city owns land that can be used in the future for residential development. Do you guys have that?
What about it?
He wants to know if we have.
Yes, I want
we
to know if
have
the
land
city has land that can be used for residential
that you're
development in
asking
the
that could be
future.
sold.
Not sold, no, that's the key. I need to know that. Does the city have like land that can be used for residential development in the future?
No.
The three large parcels that would be developable are all commercial.
Okay, my idea was simple. If you happen to have the land for residential, perhaps you could have a negotiation with a developer where the city, in exchange for the price of that land, could get a couple of living units. And why? Because I've been hearing about losing personnel to other cities, policemen, firefighters. But if the city were to put a package, a compensation package, that had living expenses included, that would make the city very, very competitive. Because they might get a high salary over there, but if the city will say, okay, come work with us, but it's going to include an apartment, or include a townhome, or something like that, that would make sense. Even will make it very appealing. So that's my idea. Is that something that perhaps you consider?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. 2 minutes.
I appreciate you doing this, Mayor. I'm 100% honest with you about that. Sometimes things get a little contentious, right? I didn't get my question answered, and I was the first person. It was whether or not these guys collectively are going to give Mr. Shadrick.
I'm going to answer you, as I said in my public
Can I stop my time, please, ma'am? Okay, well, if you could address me after, I haven't disrespected you, and I followed the rules.
Okay,
So there's a couple of things I'd like to point out. I wonder how many other municipalities actually have a non-ad valorem fee. It's less than 5%. Most all these municipalities live within their millage rate. They live within their ad valorem fees, their taxes. They don't even have these non-ad valorem fees. As a matter of fact, Apopka in Winter Garden voted their non-ad valorem fees down, and their millage rate is still less than ours. So I wonder how they're able to function when somehow we can't. It seems odd to me. I have 1 minute and 4 seconds left. I would also like to say, you know what's most discouraging is those who do need help. Under ad valorem fees, people do get assistance. Under non-ad valorem fees, they get nothing. I was told in the past that that's because we've used some of these non-ad valorem fees to secure bonds. So we cannot give people who may need it for disabilities the break because it's all put into one pot. That's unfair. That's really unfair.
All right,
and I want to talk about.
You got 30 seconds.
We always talk
30
about
seconds.
we always talk about our general fund, and we heard about 2 projects that aren't completed that aren't the city's fault. Well, the city management chooses the developers that never develop anything, that don't end up doing the infrastructure. We get none of the credit and none of the tax dollars from what they promised us. They're all sitting empty. 50 West, City Center, Dynasty, and even downtown are all bankrupt. If they were developed right now, we wouldn't be sitting here. We would have that revenue. Impact fees,
All right,
impact fees, permit fees, sales tax fees, all that, if those were done,
That's why I
would
don't
take the
let
burden
you
off
talk,
the homeowners right
Mr.
now.
Atkins.
It's not your fault, but it should.
Mr. Atkins, I'll ask you, what's your taxes you pay for? What do you pay the city?
Well, the funny thing is,
just tell me.
the funny thing is, I actually live within my means. I only owe I owe nothing on my house. I paid $85,000, so it's based upon what I bought it for. Good choices lead to good financial decisions.
People are
You
helping.
guys need to do better
All
at
these
it.
taxpayers are helping you.
No, they're not. I made good
All right,
choices.
now I'm gonna tell you why the other cities don't. Winter Garden, Florida has about the same amount of people we do. You know why? And they're gonna up their thing. But you know why? What is it, Craig? $2 billion more. They have $2 billion more revenue than we do.
Yeah, they got
No,
stuff
you're
built.
done. I'm talking now. You're done. You're done. They have $2 billion more in funds than we do. So guess what? They do have more money than we do. They got more money to put. So that's where the problem is. All right, anybody? Yes, sir. Now, I probably shouldn't do this, but I've done it, so whatever. I won't get these commissioners' votes.
Good evening, my name is Scott Graber. I live at 405 Apricot Drive. I've lived here since 2004. I love the city of Ocoee. And first off, I want to say that I respect all the first responders. I think they're underpaid, and I know that that's a big issue, and I know that's why they are leaving Ocoee and smaller departments to go to places like Orlando. Orlando can afford to pay them more. I don't mind paying more because it's an essential service. And as far as you all, you can tell that you all love this city because for $4 or $5 grand a year, I wouldn't put up with this. I'm being completely honest. One other,
Did you give your name?
Scott Graber, yes, sir.
Sorry.
That's all right. The bottom, when you fill out these forms, I don't know if you need to highlight the part that says don't clap.
It's on the back, they gotta read it.
No, I read it.
I know.
Shouldn't there
But
be
it-
like a,
Hey, it happens whether you say it or not.
okay, shouldn't you have some maybe?
There was just a lot of people tonight, a lot of people wanted to talk.
Yeah,
So you
well,
try to make it where we can move
I'm
along.
thinking maybe some trap doors under some seats would solve that. But anyway, thank you. I respect what y'all do, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? That's it. All right. That's it on that issue, so. Feel free to call us. Our phone numbers are listed there at the city. If you want to call, call. Like I said, if you text me, I'm gonna come see you, so either way, so, you know. All right. Well, let's see, mayor's announcements.
No, we
Actually, we did a motion.
No. We need a motion.
We need a motion.
Oh,
We have to finish this one.
that's right. Don't forget what we've been doing for 3 hours.
I need Mr.
I need a motion. You gotta read it.
I'd like to I'd like to make a motion,
All right.
okay? I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the amended and restated final assessment resolution using the demand and availability method for assessing the fire service assessment program, establishing maximum fire service assessment rates equal to 70% of the 5-year average assessable fire budget, and setting the FY 2026-27 fire protection assessment rates to cover 45% of the 5-year average assessable fire budget. I would like to include that we direct staff to come back with a mid-year evaluation of the city revenues and a report designating what the assessment revenues will be spent on with the fire department and recommendations based on where we are.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner First. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Kennedy. Any more comments from the dais? All right, we need to vote. Motion carries with Commissioner Oliver absent.
Did he?
All right. Now, I got a form here somewhere. All right. Mayor's announcements. All right. August events, Cookies and Milk with a Cop, happening on Wednesday, August the 26th at the West Oaks Library from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Children can enjoy story time with the Ocoee Police Department and a special guest appearance from the Chick-fil-A cow. Registration is required. Visit ocoee.org for more information. Ocoee Youth Council, open for applicants. Join our award-winning youth council and make a difference in your community while earning community service hours. Spaces are limited and availability is first come, first served with a complete application packet. Applications are due by 5 p.m. on Friday, August the 28th. Visit ocoee.org to download the application and submit it to the city clerk's office at ccdl@ocoee.org. September events. Budget hearings will take place on Wednesday, September the 9th. Take place on Wednesday, September the 9th and Wednesday, September the 23rd. Wednesday, September the 23rd. Hearings are open to the public and will be held at 6 p.m. in the commission chambers. All right, Commissioner Firstner.
No, I don't have any comment.
All right. Commissioner Wilson.
I guess the only thing I want to say is, and the mayor addressed it with you, that as for the zip code, which I know that Rose Hill is, I'm going to speak directly to you, I guess, that we have worked very hard on this. I know it's been a lot of years. This is the first time that I feel we are as close as we've ever come to get the zip code issue addressed.
Get what?
The zip code. I think it's
That's
the
what I-
closest we've come. We spent a lot of time, I mean, the mayor and I know went to Washington, I think twice now over this.
Yeah.
And we've met with, the nice thing is we have a large consortium of cities that are in the same situation that we are. And it's very discouraging to us as commissioners that we aren't able to get that zip code. Hasn't been done before. That's one item in the budget that we feel very strongly about, to get the zip code situation straightened out, not just for Rose Hill. Rose Hill is affecting, because I don't think a lot of folks know, their insurance is higher than the rest of ours. I know that there's a house that's probably comparable to mine, and we're talking about a mile as the crow flies, and there's a lot of crows out there now, but it was probably $1,000 more that their homeowner's insurance was compared to mine. And their car insurance is different. And so, I mean, we feel very strongly that we want to continue to work on this, and we're the closest we've come. We may start looking for residents to start writing, folks. We may start a writing campaign. We don't know at this point. We're waiting for our lobbyist group to direct us, because they've gotten us this far. And so all of you who have zip codes that are not Ocoee zip codes, we are working very hard to get this addressed. And I again, it's disheartening to all of us. It's not just you.
It's a nationwide problem.
Yes, it is.
So we're in it with 50 states.
It's so interesting, because we go and we've met folks from, just the situation is a John Deere, one city had a John Deere plant in their city, and they had to hire someone just to handle the mail because of the issue that's happening with this. You have California, the wildfires were addressed. They were not even affecting the city but their insurance rates were being affected because they were in the same zip code as the wildfires, but they weren't having the issue. So, I mean, you're talking across the country. We've met so many folks from so many cities, and it's disheartening to us that we have to deal with this, but we're continuing the fight. And that does cost money, but we're continuing the fight because we see that you are a member. Those folks in those zip codes are members of our city. But what happens? They're issues that are affecting them or should not be affecting them. So thank you. I know I'm supposed to have I have 2 minutes and 17 seconds. I'm done. The mayor's gonna throw that hook again on me, but just want you to know.
The process is really, it's amazing to watch what they do every day up there, but this is the same thing. This one, I won't give his last name because people might think I'm kin to him, but his name was Ron John. He voted against it. Now, he had said before he was going to be one of the backers, and he turned right around. Because the Postal Service has one of the better unions than a lot of people. I know I was in the Postal Service for 28 years. They have put the pressure on those guys not to do it. They don't want to do it. But that's the problem. We got to have those, if you want to write to those congressmen and stuff, then let them know, because it's that way all over the country. We have our land up on Clear Corner Road, and is under a Popka. Popka's mailing address. We don't even have it with the city. I have people tell me, well, I know it's your turn, Commissioner, but I was at the doctor's office getting my eyes done, and the guy got to ask me something. I said, well, where do you live? Oh, I live in a Popka. I said, oh yeah, what's the name? Where at? Well, I live in Arden Park. I said, you're in Ocoee. That's Ocoee. That's not Arden. That's not our Popka. That's the problem. But we've been working, I think it's close to 16 years trying to get that straight. So we're still at it. All right, Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Someone once said, what we have here is a failure to communicate. Some people you just can't reach. And Mr. Atkins, I mean you, and I apologize for singling you out, but it's needed. You stood up in public comments, and you specifically told us all that your comments were not about item 10, and you've been here a lot. You know that I only get to comment at the end, and that the public comments are not an interrogatory. And then you stood up during the public hearing on item 10 and complained that nobody addressed your comments after I graciously went out of my way at the beginning of my public hearing comment to note that I was going to answer you in my public comment. So I don't know what the problem is, but there's a problem. Here's your answers.
Not with me.
The city manager serves just like we serve at the pleasure of the citizens, at our pleasure. He has a contract. But I think, as you know, the last city manager had a contract, and he's not here. If at any time the city manager lost the confidence of any member of this commission, they could come to this commission and discuss it and discuss changing the city manager, and his contract specifies how that would be handled. We talked about he's actually doing a great job. He's doing a wonderful job. In my opinion, he has my full confidence. Yes, last year or the year before, in the meeting on this same fire fee, a commissioner, me, said that in 2013, creating the fire fee simply not to increase the millage during a political campaign was a sleight of hand. And that's why last year we changed it. We cured the 2013 problem last year. That's no longer what we're doing. And so I appreciate you trying to use my comment to impugn today's proceeding, but they actually bear no relationship to each other at all. Those were the 2 points that you raised, and you've been answered. I'm done.
All right, my turn. I just want to say something, and it's something, I don't want to offend anybody, but I don't want to offend the city manager, but I just want to say something about, and all the stress and all the work with all this problem they've been trying to do to fix this because of what's happened. How many have wrote to the Tallahassee? How many think that thing? You say you have, that's good. That is the problem. They're up there, sitting up there, most of them used to be city commissioners sitting here. They know full well what they're doing when they put that into action. It's gonna make us, all of us, have to come up with money. So they know full well. And I wanna say something real quick. Craig, I don't wanna upset you, but people send in things wanting to get all the records about what we're doing with this or what we're doing with that or mishandling or sleight of hands. Let me tell you something. Our city manager contract says he needs to live in the city. He lives on Center Street, and I don't know that address. I was gonna look at it today and I forgot. No, but I'm saying, I didn't give him the address. He lives on Center Street, and somebody made a comment, well, we're gonna check on the city manager. His contract says he has to live in the city. But I'm gonna tell you something, folks. He's like human like everybody else. His couldn't sell his house yet in Lake Mary. His wife's still there watching it with their 2 sons. Craig, I don't want you to get mad at me, but his mother is in Georgia. And listen, all of you got mothers, the ones you don't, I feel bad for you because I don't. My mother died at 53. He has worked, him and his brother who lives in Louisiana, to keep his mother at home with the people being with him all day long. He has probably waged his house up in the monies because he's like everybody else. It ain't cheap. His main problem is trying to settle us with taxes and everything else. And I can tell you, you come up here at 6:37, his car will be over there where he's working. But he also, somebody I know who it is, sent a thing about he's not living. He is living here. He lives up there on that thing, and that's what he's doing that and doing the other. So I just want people to understand, they send these things and do these things, you don't know the full story of what's going on in here. And I respect him for that, because let me tell you, if you still got a mama, you be happy. Because that's one of the things in life you don't get to do over. And I have disrespect for people that make comments like that. They always want to start something on Facebook or on, what is that other one?
Next door.
Huh? Next door. Well, next door, they had the wrong houses. They don't know what they're saying, because most of them, because they're putting stuff on there they don't even know about. They don't research it. Research it before you say it. You can say what you want to about me. My wife won't let me look at Facebook. So you gotta respect what people are doing. Come to the meetings. Come listen to what we're doing. And if you wanna vote, that guy said, well, you wanna vote new people in? Vote them in. But you're gonna get to come up here and get a taste of what it is. It ain't a fun job, but I live here. Like I said, I lived here 71 years, and I hope I'm gonna live a few more here, but I love this place. I'm not trying to overcharge people for anything, and not trying to take anything. I have 5 kids. I had 5. My older son died. 11 grandchildren, and now 1 great-grandchild born last weekend. I can't get up in the morning and look in the mirror and know something I've done that I got to let them see it, because they see stuff on Facebook from these people and some of the stuff they say. So if you see that, call me, and I'll be glad to explain anything you want to hear that's truthfully comes out of my mouth. And I appreciate everybody coming tonight. It's great to have citizens show up. It's great to have them come here. And all the ones of you that want to keep throwing that slander on Facebook, keep doing it, because it helps. Good evening.
Good evening.